Earth is very flat.
What's going on, everybody? It is Monday, September 20th, 2021. This is Brandon, host of Brandon's Show. And it says Friday Night Fights on the screen. It is not Friday, for those of you watching live that aren't aware of what day it is. It is Monday. And today we got open panel, open discussion. So that should be fun. I see a few people in Discord already. We'll just see where things go, per usual, and go from there. I see quite a few people in the chat. I'm trying to do two things at once. I'm not very good at it. We've got WTP, Gadget Inspector, Ian Adams, PJ, what's up? Page 42. Ask and Receive. Yes, I'm feeling okay. Has it been a couple Mondays that I've canceled? Individual 1, Arwin, Cleary, Brian, second best Bob, and Bill G, who is not here. He was never here. And page 42, who was first. Congratulations, Paige. Friday night is still going for 3 days straight. That's right. We never stopped the stream. We just kept going. You guys missed amazing stuff. We turned all the ballers into flat earthers over the weekend, and you won't see any of them around here. They all said that they quit, and that's it. So it's just flat earthers only. Only flat earthers left in the world. We took care of the whole thing over the weekend. Pretty awesome. Pretty epic. All right. There, we got that up. We've got the Friday night fights still going, huh? Let's get rid of that. There we go. See? I'm prepared. Yeah. Chat is disabled. Arwen says chat's disabled. Oh, in the video. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I forgot to copy the link over. I got it now. Let's go into Discord.
I guess it's called Flatlanders. You guys heard of that with Shelley Lewis and kind of documentary style, I think.
What's going on, everybody? We're live on YouTube. How's it going?
Hello, Brandon.
Hello, Brandon.
Hey. We've got Biodual, Brian Leakey, Chad, Conrad, Conspiracy Santa, DMOC, Extremist, Farming Ganja, Effie Walker, Geo, I'm your Copernicus, Left Lane, Matrix Media J, Rodney B, and White's Word. And it's my lucky day because I see a Flurfer Nerfer sock in the chat. There we go. How about that? That's a nice gift there. Do a little pre-show banning here. Anyway, what's going on, guys? How you doing?
Pretty good. I had to go through. Is my mic okay?
Yeah, it sounds great. Who are you? Are you new here?
Yeah. I told my wife my wife heard y'all, so she answered the call. Got me some.
Tell her we love her. She's awesome.
Love y'all too, man.
Yeah,
but
it's pretty awesome.
Then I had a bunch of clips stuck back in video editor for like a little joke, a ranty versus ranty, live, like a debate. And I went to put it together. I finally got around to it, and like almost all of them were missing. I was like, man, I had all kinds of stuff I had tucked back. Like it'll actually lose files, literally lose files. So it made me it aggravated. So I went back through some of it and just made but it's the first one of a few about ranty versus ranty. Him kind of debunking his own claims, pretty convincingly, I might add.
I saw that come up on your channel. Is it on? I didn't catch if it was on Flat Earth Tests or if it was on Brian Leakey.
It's on Flat Earth, and I think I put it on Brian Leakey too. But no, I didn't put it on Brian Leakey. But what I did put on Brian Leakey and Flat Earth Test was one earlier today, which was Thanks Ranty, and that was him demonstrating, like, because the Globers always say that if we have a line of sight to it, there's no way anything from beneath it can block it. They all say that. I could make a clip with almost every one of them saying that if you have line of sight to it, no matter how far in the distance it is, nothing from the ground can block it. And I pulled up a clip of Ranty on Jose's. I'm showing a little wave, like a outgoing tide wave. No, it's Jose's footage. Ranty was on there, and they were doing a demonstration. And it was, Jose said it was about a 3-foot wave. He called it 5 to be generous. And he had some boats out about 2 miles and a lighthouse of about 3 miles. And they're all saying it's Earth curve. And Rumpus does this demonstration showing a computer graphic, orthographic view, saying, look, you can't block nothing from the bottom up if you have line of sight to it. And right after that, it was funny because right after that, they showed that footage, and it showed the wave. Jose's is 15 foot up in the air, 3 times higher than the wave, showing the wave blocking almost the entire lighthouse, a little 3-foot wave. So, and it was blocking like half of boats. It's funny. Everybody, I recommend checking it out when you get a chance.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I'll link the channel in the chat. It's Flat Earth Tests for anybody who isn't already subscribed to Brian Leakey's channel or second channel. Go check it out. The chat, the link is in the chat here. And he puts out a lot of videos. You got 146 videos out there. I remember when you created this channel. It doesn't seem like that long ago, man. You're busy.
Yeah, I've had Brian Leak for almost 3 years, but Flat Earth Test, I created that over a year ago, and I like doing these videos, man. I've gotten a little bit better at it, but lately I'm trying to do better videos, and get rid of some of the wishy-washy ones, and just do short, sweet videos. That seems to work. People like them.
Yeah. Once you get into it, making videos is pretty fun. That's one thing I miss. I don't have as much time to do it since I host the show, but I like putting videos together too. Takes a while to get good at it.
Anybody can do it, man. There is unlimited footage of Globers just stomping straight on their tongue. I mean, literally. There's a lot of cases where they'll backfire on what they say within 1 sentence. They'll say anything to win a point. It's unbelievable. And like we're not gonna be little. I mean, like we're not gonna catch it and make a video. Half the time I feel like they're lying. Sometimes I just think they're just brainwashed. I don't know. I'm still trying to figure it out.
Yeah, no, I wonder the same thing sometimes. Some of the double speaking, it just kind of
wonder. How do you
takes
wonder
me
the
back.
same thing, Brandon and Brian? For goodness sake, how do you wonder that? Even if they were brainwashed, they have so many excellent points to consider that they'd have must to come away with a different point of view. So come on, they have to be lying, and knowingly and cooperatively so. It's the only conclusion.
Well, I've said many times that I think some of them are here professionally for whatever reason. I don't know.
Yeah.
Seems like a weird thing to do, but the government does all kinds of weird stuff, and so do corporations who get hauled in front of Congress and chastised for organically growing a flat Earth community by with their algorithm. So that might be it too.
So much money invested in the lie. It just makes sense with the internet, which is only a new thing, that have all of this completely covered and controlled. Persuasion is 9/10 of the propaganda.
Most of it's just misunderstanding on your behalf.
But the thing is,
okay, fair enough. Let me know my misunderstanding.
let's
Difficult.
before you get glow videos, look at SE and bless his heart, but he made a video talking about the new moon and looking for the new moon, and he wasn't even pointed at the new moon.
Well, he's not going to point it then.
Well, I'm not saying that there's no misunderstandings in flat Earth. Flat Earthers say stuff all the time that I disagree with or turn out to be, not correct. That's for sure.
Right. So
do ballers,
stuff on both. Yep.
Yeah.
Some on both sides.
Yeah, we're all wrong sometimes, man. And
yeah,
if you're wrong, you're wrong. I mean, I'm one to talk.
Yeah.
I've been wrong about a few things. You live and you learn. I've learned so much in this topic, especially debating, man. I mean, we've all learned a lot. I mean, I think every one of us, man, I could speak for just about every one of us saying we're all into NASA and space and science and shit like that, at one time or another. We all really still are. Just some of us have
And then what
moved
happened?
on trying to figure out the truth.
Then you got in a car accident,
We
hit your
woke
head
up.
really
We
hard.
woke
Right?
up, bro.
Shut
We're
up,
trying to
penis.
wake y'all up. No?
Who's this
Trying
insulting
to wake
guy?
y'all up. Y'all are still asleep.
Who's the insulting guy? Who's
He's
the guy
Then you got in a
penis.
car
He's
accident.
penis. Hey, penis. Pete asked you what he was
Hey,
mistaken in.
dickhead.
So why don't you give us one answer for Pete? Tell us
Yeah,
one
that's what I was
thing
waiting
he's
for.
wrong in. Go
For
ahead.
Pete?
Yeah.
Well, Pete's got a lot of things wrong. As for
Right,
you,
right. That's
you
not
control.
specific. Right. That's
That's what
not
we were talking about
specific.
tonight.
I knew that
Yeah.
was going to be your
Yeah.
first statement. What he's got a lot of
You
things wrong.
mentioned something. He
Yeah.
mentioned
Right,
something in relation to
right.
what I
Go
said
ahead.
directly. So answer that.
For you, it's just making shit up, and you don't understand.
Okay.
You
There's
think
another.
that.
There's another. That
Why are
means
you
nothing.
talking
You
funny,
just make
man?
shit
Like you
up
have a
again.
cartoon voice on.
Give us one
Let's all
example,
do a
penis.
cartoon voice.
You've made
for
up.
that.
You've made the whole thing with the Aether band is totally made up. You don't understand calculus.
No.
According
We're
to you,
not talking
calculus
about
is
me,
bullshit.
penis.
Therefore,
We're not talking about me.
well, you
We're
asked
talking
for an
about
example.
Pete. No,
You asked
we're
me an
talking
example.
about.
I'm giving you an example
No.
with you. You are just making
Oh
shit
my
up with this whole
God.
disappear from the bottom to the top thing. You don't understand optics. You
Why
don't
would you
understand
come in
calculus.
why would you
Calculus
come
is
into a room and
bullshit,
talk like
and I
this,
quote you
man?
directly.
Why would
Yeah.
you come into a
Yeah.
room and talk like this?
As
Flat
for
Earth
Pete, he
room.
Why are
named
you so
himself
emotional
Dodo, which
about
pretty
it?
much tells you.
Paid Nessa show. Why does this get you so
You were
emotional
gonna
that
say
we're
penis.
even if you think we're wrong, we're just flat out wrong. Why do you get so emotional about it?
Not that emotional. It's just you get into this when you get when you
Couldn't
get
compose himself on that one.
Emotional.
Did you hear his
I got
voice quiver?
when you get dickhead here who thinks he's
Oh, that's
smarter than
original.
Copernicus.
That's original.
Well, you call me penis, I'll call you dickhead. Okay, how about that?
Okay,
Well,
penis.
That's fine.
adjective. You're just
Okay,
going back
dickhead.
on what he said. He
Are
already
you trying to
mentioned
hurt my
it.
feelings, penis?
Oh no, it's impossible to hurt your feelings. You have none. You have no brain, therefore you have no
Yeah.
feelings. How about that?
Well, let me ask you this, Paid. I mean, not to go on a whole
here we go.
emotional, thing in terms of
Oh, I
analyzing.
gotta go.
people.
I gotta go myself.
Are you okay that other people have different viewpoints than yours, or do they have to have the same one you have?
Does he not like you, Gio? Because he just bailed. He just
He
bailed.
had to go. He said his phone was ringing or some shit.
Yeah,
This is what I'm saying. Why do you tolerate this shit? Like, because that's all they do. That's all they want to do in general. Is come in,
It's entertaining.
disturb the conversation, and say nothing else. You know, it's ridiculous.
It's entertaining. The only reason we talk about this all the time. The reason we put up with it is one, we don't want this place to turn into an echo chamber. Two, it's entertaining. There's some people who are here just for those kind of interactions. Believe it or not, when there's no ballers around,
Fair enough.
there's some people who get real quiet. They thrive on that. So it does drive us in a way. It drives a lot of people because they want to be right, or they want to investigate something because, you know, someone hurt their feelings or, you know, attack their ego or whatever. So it's good to have two sides.
Sure.
You know,
for me,
in my
If they come in
opinion,
here representing a certain side, if they come in here representing a certain side, which most of them do, honestly, a search for truth, a scientific mind, then we got to hold them to that. And as you saw was it over the weekend or last week, whenever, we're holding George and all the rest of them to the scientific method, asking them for the developed hypothesis and null, and also try and falsify any model that they have. They can't even get off square one. So you're stuck talking to the wall, and you can laugh for a certain amount of time. But you know, the rest of the time you'll just move on. But what really is, Brandon, maybe.
Yeah, no,
Pete,
sometimes
I did
it
that.
gets old. It gets old occasionally. Don't get me wrong.
For me, it's really
Somebody say
powerful
something?
too, because even. Oh, can you guys hear me?
No, go ahead, Crit.
Yeah.
I think Bio started to say something, but then maybe he cut out.
I did. I followed scientific method, provided nulls, and try to falsify my worldview. And
How did you
I couldn't
start?
falsify
How did
it.
you start trying to falsify
Unfortunate.
spinning glowbird? What was the first 3 steps you took?
The entire premise around mass attracting mass. I tried to falsify it using a vacuum chamber, and it worked regardless of a vacuum or not.
What? One particular aspect. Okay, let's take a more mundane aspect, the spinningness or the ballness of it. How did you falsify these aspects?
What aspect that balls have mass? Is that what you're saying?
That
What
the
do you think?
the ball is spinning. The ball itself is spinning.
Oh, the rotation.
And second of all,
Yeah, how did you falsify? How did you falsify that the Earth is stationary?
Did you go?
Oh no, I have never done that. No, I rely on the results of others with proper equipment because I don't have the proper equipment to test that.
Your eyes.
That's the best you can do in terms
No,
of any
eyes
falsification.
are pretty good.
That's the
eyes are
best you
pretty
could
shit
do
about that.
in terms of any possible falsification of a model presented. Isn't that anti-science?
No, because what I'm doing is I'm relying on people who have done the results and repeatedly
Okay.
done the results with proper equipment. I don't have the proper
Right.
equipment. If
So it's a
I had the
religion.
hold
It's a
on.
religion.
Hold on.
Okay.
If I had the proper equipment, I would definitely try to falsify it.
In your mind.
Particularly with mass attracting mass, I got the proper equipment and I tried to falsify it and I couldn't. I validated the hypothesis.
How did you try to falsify?
How would you try?
All you told us was that you failed. How did you try to falsify?
By setting up null hypotheses in which the atmosphere being removed would change the result of what was going on. That was the claim of someone else, and that would refute
It seems
my
to got to
claim.
do with gravity. What are you talking about? I asked you about a spinning ball Earth. You don't
I
need to
know.
go back to
I
those
didn't
basic
bring up
core
the spinning
levels.
Earth. I didn't bring up the spinning Earth. I told you
I
what
did.
I attempted
Yeah,
to
I know,
falsify,
Pete.
and then hold on. I told you what I attempted to falsify, and you immediately changed the subject.
No, I did
Right.
not.
Yes,
I asked
Pete.
you about
Yes,
the
you did.
basic core concern, which is the Earth, which is you say is a ball and it's moving. What are the
Listen.
steps, even if you didn't do them yourself? What are the
Pete.
steps you would take to try and falsify these premises?
All right. If you want to talk to him, Bio, go ahead.
That's all. Just simple
And
questions.
there might not
Isn't it
be a
very
point
easy
to
to give an answer, for God's sake.
because I did bring up a specific point in which I did try to invalidate my own worldview, and then you did hear that he immediately
I
changed the
didn't
subject.
ask you about that.
Yeah. No.
Yeah,
Pete, he's right. He's right. He said, I set out to falsify my worldview. And then you said, what did you do? And he brought up gravity. The subject was never spinning ball Earth. You changed it to that, which is fine. But
we're talking about flat Earth.
Right, it's fine.
I know,
It's just
but that's what that's what he went to, gravity. So evidently, that was his worldview.
Yeah,
I guess.
well, that's a flat. Well, where's that going to take you? Because that sort of shit could work on a flat Earth or a ball Earth.
I
And
100% agree.
And if it was
I've
a real
said this-
phenomena, it's interpretation of the results, which
Sure.
is where it all counts, right?
Right. And I've said it before, and I think other people here, even flat earthers, will acknowledge that I've said it many times, that gravity in and of itself, being mass attracting mass, could work on a flat Earth. The real discussion would be how that interacts with a flat Earth and a sphere Earth, and how gravity just interacts in general. But if the claim is that no, it doesn't exist at all, then that's where I have the problem. And I'm just establishing mass does attract mass. Everything else is extra when we discuss it, but it does exist.
Yeah, but hang on. I say it does exist as well, right? But that's a different matter. That's a different matter. By you trying to falsify Cavendish's experiment and results or conclusions, right? It's a different matter. Let's break it down simply. We're talking to adults here. If you had to falsify it, we're told it's a spinning and it's a ball, right? So how would you go about trying to falsify these? Simple. Just say what you would do.
That's another. That's still a good one though, because even if you don't want to talk about that particular claim and you hold to the claim that gravity does exist, the vast majority of flat earthers don't acknowledge that it exists. So you can either sit down and take a back seat and listen to people that do refute that claim, or we can come to a standstill and perhaps change the subject organically.
Hold on. I don't remember hearing a flat earther say gravity doesn't exist. So it kind of feels like you're doing a little sleight of hand when you say that, because we may disagree on what causes gravity, what causes things to fall down or attract one another. But I don't think anybody denies the fact that things fall to the earth.
Right. It would be the mechanism, because you will have flat earthers that say it's due to density equilibrium, and then you'll have others that say it's the electric potential of objects within our space around us.
Right.
You'll see a number of different things. What I'm establishing is that mass itself is attracting other mass.
Yeah, but in your model, it's the cause and the effect, bro. It's the cause and the effect. We just have an effect we can call gravity, 9.8 meters per second squared, solids falling average speed in air. But in your model, it's the cause and the effect, bro. Wake up.
Okay, cool. So I do have the experimentation showing that this is occurring, and then you can have it at different rates due to different size mass. Despite everything else that we're discussing would remain the same. The density could remain the same. The electromagnetic effect could remain the same. What's changing is the value of the mass, the size of the mass. and we're seeing a different valued effect.
What's your point, man? What's your point in relation to spinning ball Earth? This is what we're talking about. Spinning ball versus flat stationary plane.
Oh, if that's the topic, then here I bow out because I have not directly tested that. I have evidence of
No, I
other
didn't ask
people
you
testing
to.
it,
In your mind,
of my
if your
own
teacher in
testing.
school,
But
if your
Hold
teacher
on,
in school was to ask
Pete,
you to
hold
think
on,
of
just
three
real quick.
things
Pete, you gotta
as
let
to
him
how you
finish.
would falsify a spinning ball Earth, write them down. Say them out. How you would try to do it?
Do what I said, man.
I
Do what
I
said,
have
but
not
answer a simple question.
I have not tested myself the rotating and versus stationary. I rely on the evidence of others, understanding how
try to
gyroscopes work,
falsify it?
for example, and a hostile witnesses doing the tests, but coming to conclusions that they don't agree with. So that's what I rely
How
on.
would you advise a child to go about trying to falsify a claim that's made?
How would I? I would understand what is being tested, and if the equipment that's being used is
Right.
good equipment for what's being tested. For
Right, so you
example,
would first search.
I wouldn't use a ruler to check the temperature. So if someone is saying I'm trying to validate the temperature of something and they're using a ruler, I know intuitively that that is bad equipment for that test.
Right, but in your mind,
That's absurd.
everything
That was
comes
an
from the
absurd
mind.
example.
In your mind, what test?
Agreed. Very absurd. Yes.
Anyway, I'm not gonna
Okay,
get
so
into
listen,
the-
Bio. So
Move on.
do you have your experiment recorded?
Yeah, it was recorded. Big Blue has the entire thing recorded manually on his computer. But I guess
Of
Twitch.
your.
I know. Hold on, man. Hold on. Big Blue has it. He recorded it as I streamed it. Twitch had my video, the entire thing, 28 hours, but it's over 2 months, so they have deleted it. So I'm either trying to get it from Big Blue, the raw data video, or I'm going to do it again, one or the other. So
if mass, then mass attracts mass. That experiment, you mean?
yeah, basically, yeah. The premise of the experiment was that it wouldn't work under a vacuous condition, and that's what I set out to validate or invalidate. But yes, mass attract mass the entire time.
Yeah, that was cool. You did that, man. I predicted it'd work better. You've already. I mean, you've acknowledged that. I told Chemo it'll work better in a vacuum, man, because there's no air resistance. And in my opinion, there's less resistance for electrostatics and for air resistance. But man, I still haven't put together my Cavendish. I got enough lead now to make. I think I have enough to make the original experiment with the 1 foot diameter spheres. But all I have right now still is the small spheres. I got to remelt the fuckers. It's easy to get lazy on things like this, man. But so I can appreciate that you did it.
No, yeah, I'm excited for you to do it too, man. My only recommendation from doing it all is just ensure that the wire that you use is thin enough, like strong enough to hold the weight, but thin enough that it's minimal torque.
I'm not going to use it. I'm going to try one version of it with no wire. I'm going to use poly. I'm going to use fishing line in one version of it. I'm going to change it around a bunch of ways. I'm going to try the concrete. I know the heaviest version of concrete I can get. I'm going to try copper with lead. I'm going to try concrete with concrete with lead with lead, different wire. I'm going to try it. I'm going to do I'm going to put some variables in it.
Hold on, Brandon.
I'm going to try to do organic material pretty soon. Not just yet, but I want to use organics.
Let me help you out a little bit. Brandon, let me ask you, if there's a force pulling things down to the center or down, what importance or relevance does it have? What is causing it?
Everything.
Well, when you're basing your model of your how the celestial objects move and saying that it's the same force, when you're relying on that to explain what we see in the sky and your whole model of the universe, it takes on a lot of importance. For me personally, it doesn't have much importance.
But what they need is a force, right? As long as you guys grant them that there's a force, then they can care less what is the cause of that force. Because all you need is a force to gather all the matter in a make it a sphere and all these things.
Who cares what
With
they
the-
care?
I
If there's an
guess.
ether, there's an ether, Island Zero. Who cares what they fucking care? Or give them an argument. It don't take much to create an argument, as we know.
Talking about the ether. We're talking about the force.
Yeah,
I-
force.
I-
This force has actually got to do with
I
the
personally
ether, but
don't
that's
think
okay.
you need a force to explain the observations that we have, any of the observations, any of the effects that we see.
It's possible you don't need one, but the where the argument stems from would be that the source of this force would be in the middle of the object, essentially the center. That would be where it originates or is, most powerful, or the source of it, whatever. But what that that when other material is around that, it would equally fill the space around it, because it would be the path of least resistance, essentially. So if you're like a magnet, if you're an inch away from a magnet, you feel a lot of force. If you're a foot away from a magnet, you feel a hell of a lot less force. So as you're filling the space available around the source, you're essentially forming a sphere naturally. So that would be the root of the argument from a globe perspective.
Bio, but what I'm just saying is if they grant you that there's a force, why you have to argue what is causing that force? Don't bother, man.
No, yeah,
Right.
what causes it would be nice. I wouldn't dare say what it is causing it.
You're not getting my point, Bio.
What's happened. No, I know what you're saying. We don't know everything about gravity. We don't know everything about mass. We don't know everything about the physical universe. I understand that point. We can interact with what we can interact with. We can manipulate what we can manipulate. We just don't have all of the answers, but we have enough to say this thing does exist. We don't know why, but it does, and it forms these natural shapes because of this process, or it interacts with other physical objects in this way. We can manipulate it in different ways. Blah 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 blah.
That's all theorizing. So that's
Yeah,
all
you
theorizing,
can say,
following
well,
on.
you can see there's a force pulling things down, and who cares, right? That's all we need to
but
form our
hang
model.
on. It's not Silent Zero, because then your
It's
battle
not.
just becomes against the likes of Bio indefinitely, rather than getting to the truth of matters. Remember, if he's lying, and lies have to be built on something, and that is the truth. So if the truth is known, if you're just going to say it doesn't matter, well then you won't broach the truth too far. How long are you in this arena again?
Yeah, what Silent Zero is saying is if flat Earth gives gravity as a force, you're sort of conceding to the globe, right?
Doesn't matter what is causing it. Yeah, if you guys concede that there's gravity, that there's a force pulling things down, what matters what is causing it? Who gives? It doesn't change the argument. The force is there.
I never said gravity was pulling things down, though. I never said
There's
that.
no force, man. There's no force necessary. I'm so tired of hearing that. There's no force necessary, man. Is there a force necessary to make temperatures go back down to equilibrium? To make pressure go back down to equilibrium? No, it's just the way shit is, man. It ain't got. Is there a force making helium go up? It's just the way shit is, man. It's all relative.
Yeah,
It's all relative. It's not a force.
What do you mean, Brian? Well, it's a
The
picture of
heliocentric model. Hold on. The heliocentric model doesn't even have it as a force anymore. What the fuck?
Temperature
That's not the
going
point
down
here,
and
but-
pressure going down is not the same thing as down.
You could come
It's
along,
like-
and Silent Zero and Brian can say that we understand the globe's point of view, right? They already assume a spinning ball Earth globe, and the universe develops from there. Coming back to flat Earth, if you ask any of these people about how far they've developed their thoughts on flat Earth, none at all. You'll get a fucking flat disc floating, or maybe don't even say water, because it's a bit dangerous saying water. But in terms of Brian or Silent Zero or any other flat Earther, how well can you paint a picture of what was going on all around us? Whether that be the stars, whether that be the ground itself, whatever. And this, if you're going to say it doesn't matter, that's fair enough. You're not interested in the questions, what really is questions, which you must hold by now is fucking known. So if you're not interested in that, you're going to debate with Bio all your life. That's fair enough. That's all you ever want to do is just to beat him over and over again like a dead horse.
Well, geez, that's kind of fucking.
It's true, Brandon.
Passive aggressive.
It's true. That's harsh but true. You know these people come in day in, day out and just give the same arguments and never develop the alternatives. And that's the whole point, right?
That is
That's
true.
why when
we went over that on.
I do
Thursday or
deny
Friday?
gravity just to make it clear, Brandon. So I'm a flat earther. I do deny gravity, and there's
You
some
deny
downward
that things fall down?
Through a force, yes.
Okay, well I never mentioned a force.
Let me clarify. When I said I started this
The
off.
reason I
Hang on,
say
Brian.
that-
Let me clarify. Let me just clarify for Silent Zero. When I said I hold that gravity is a thing, I don't mean it in the same way as the boat. I hold that first of all, Einstein's space-time gravity is metaphor for ether, and it's a pushing force from above, and it's associated with the force that's withholding the waters beyond, which creates our barrier. That's the way I see it. But it's a different sense. But there's still a prevailing force, definitely, if you want to call it a force.
So,
Does it have
so
influence?
Brandon,
Yeah, if you want-
I have a
Well,
question
here,
for
hold on.
you.
Let me stick this in real quick. As I was only saying that because the globe doesn't even have it as a force. Because listen, there's repercussions to calling that the downward bias, whatever you want to call it, to call it a force. There are repercussions that have been proven wrong. That's why the globe doesn't even have it as a force. But we're going to give them a fucking force. That's all. That's my whole point on that, man. It doesn't have to be a force. There's other explanations.
Who said we're going to give him a
attract to the
force? I don't understand where this
down-
is
I
coming
don't know.
from.
I thought I heard somebody say that. My bad.
No, I don't think
Well,
so.
you can see there's gravity, right?
Yes,
I said it's metaphor.
things fall
Even
down. You
electrostatic,
see,
you know?
Yeah.
you see the sleight of hand. You see the
let me-
sleight of hand. He says flat earthers deny there's gravity. It makes us sound like we're fucking idiots who don't know that things fall down to the earth or rise, or helium balloons rise. Like we're just fucking denying base reality. That's the sleight of hand. So what I said was,
Word trickery.
hold on, you're doing a little fucking trick there by saying that flat earthers deny gravity because we don't agree with the definition of why things fall down. No one's going to deny that things fall down, right?
No.
Don't
That was
accept
my only
gravity
point.
for a second in the form that
They say a biodual knows damn well what he's doing, in my opinion, and so do other globers when they say that shit. It marginalizes us by making us sound like we're fucking idiots.
Yeah, they do that. That's like when, but I can even tie in with the electrostatics, making everything at a certain frequency or like a resonance. Because, like I said, if you look under a microscope, everything shapes, vibrates. You know, everything's. And they've, like I've said over and over, they flipped fish tank upside down and showed, and the reverse effects, and also by, with sound frequency, they show boulders floating off of plates. I mean boulders, not just little light shit, but that's just a frequency. So I'm good with the electrostatics having something to do with it, but I say we don't never know for sure. But yeah, they do try to twist the shit on us, man. Just because we're free thinkers, man, trying to come up with I don't know, man. I just try and explore all the possibilities. That's part of the fun of this, man.
Yeah,
that's why it's a silly point to say that. Don't say that because it'll give the ballers ammunition. Who gives a fuck? I mean, if you think that'd be one bullet to the rest of our armory, right? But when you develop conversation, things become clearer. But you're right, Brandon. It's all slippery, and it's all word play as well. It's like a word is put out there. There's a certain meaning attached to it, right? And then it's you're tomfooled based on that, or you're pushed into a corner based on the word. Whereas the word itself is more representative of a general idea that we can all appreciate. But, yeah, very slippery. Is it all?
Yeah.
It needs must.
Sophistry. They're like the globers are sophists. I have met a couple that are not. I'll say that are just straight up and will. They aren't sophists like Croexy. I never found him to use any sophistry. But
So that what
I
you
can't
referred to,
think of too many others.
Brandon?
Huh?
What is that? Trying to complicate?
You
shit?
were referring to that, like when you were mentioning gravity, just like things going down, not about what is causing and all that stuff, right?
Say that again. Sorry, I think I missed the beginning.
I said when you were talking about the gravity thing, you were talking just of things moving down, right?
Yeah.
Hey, what is sophistry, man? Is that like where people complicate shit for no reason?
No, sophistry. It's like what lawyers do. Here, let me read the definition to you.
It depends on what the definition of is.
Like a
The use of
sophisticated.
fallacious arguments, especially with the intention of deceiving.
I was
in my
thinking
opinion,
sophist,
that
like sophisticated.
like what
So
politicians
fallacious,
do.
bad logic.
Yeah,
Bad
but
logic.
Brian, like what politicians do. What like fucking political representatives. You just watch them on TV and you go, I can't fucking believe this person's saying that. This is crazy. This is a total lie. Like Bill Clinton when he said, depends on what the definition of it is. You know, sophistry.
Said it depends on what the definition of is.
Oh, is. Yeah, thank you.
ISIS. We say that ISIS.
The original sophists were ancient Greek teachers of rhetoric and philosophy in the 5th century. In their heyday, these philosophers were considered adroit in their reasoning, but later philosophers described them as sham philosophers, out for money and willing to say anything to win an argument. Thus, sophist earned a negative connotation as a captious or fallacious reasoner.
You could say
Sophistry is reasoning that seems plausible on a superficial level, but is actually unsound, or reasoning that is used to deceive.
Einstein's theory of relativity was only understood by 3 people in the world, and yet it was the truth, declared as the truth, and it was also sophisticated. So with an intent to deceive, that's where sophistry shines, I guess.
Yeah. It's like, put it right up there next to propaganda, you know? It's all intertwined. It's all the art of deception.
Debating class in school, I mean, I know not that that happened too much in our school, but you know, you just go in, you take which side you're put at, and you argue the best case you can from both sides. All the ballers ever have the one side leaning story, you know, and that's it. They'll never venture tiptoe into the other side. That's all they'll ever do. You know what I mean? So that gives their game away completely, and they all know exactly what they're doing. Why they're doing it, that's a different reason, but there is intent behind it, and there's no brainwashing involved there. These people knew the earth was flat before I did, because a lot of them are here. Rumpus was here when I came in 2015 or 16, with the exact same arguments, with the exact same character, and always quick to want to bring his diagram out and go through the same thing that he's done 100,000 times before. So, you know.
Hey, who is angle of attack, man? If I spoke over angle of attack, I apologize. I had you muted. I'm going down the list to try to cut down on interrupts.
Have you seen Rekia's image that he put in chat there? I'm sure it was mentioned before. If Travis is in chat, it'd be interesting to have a chat about that to explain what exactly might be going on, because it incorporates inferior miraging, what we might call, ballers would say looming, but other things that need possible explanation. So I think that might be an interesting discussion point to get at the truth, as opposed to, you know, for later maybe.
Yeah, no, it's open discussion, so we can talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. Travis wants to talk about that.
Horizon is another.
Are you talking about the
Where the hell
two?
is? Yeah, Travis.
Are you talking about the 2 images from Rakia where he puts up George's 2 pictures?
No, just his own picture where you have the 2 humps of the bridge over Pontchartrain, and the rest has disappeared. And you see a mirroring a layer. Not going to influence anything, but you know the image I'm talking about.
Yeah. Let me get there real quick. It's in general.
Yeah, that would be pretty good to get because if you could sort out what was going on here, then you could apply it to greater captures as well. It's pretty. Looking at this, you'd immediately go, "What the?" You wouldn't if you didn't know what you were looking at. You'd have difficulty figuring it out somewhat. It could be anything, really, couldn't it? But
yeah, I suppose it could be anything if it was just a still image, but if it was a video, you could see the cars going up over the crossway. But yeah, I mean, if you want to start a discussion on this, I'm fine with that. It's an inferior mirage for sure. What else do you want to say?
Yeah, I don't. Well, I'm just saying, Dave. Rakia put it up, and it's a very interesting image. Inferior mirage, of course, is difficult term. It's first of all a baller explanation term.
Well, but see, that's your claim, though.
I'm just saying that. I'm saying we have to be careful with their terms, right? So you can't.
But I don't
Ball
think
Earth
so.
and flat Earth don't translate, Travis. We
Okay,
have
so
to realize that in this day.
Okay. You know, to a certain extent, I agree with you. In my research, I don't think that an inferior mirage is a ball Earth term. I do think that a superior mirage is a ball Earth term, because the superior mirage presupposes that the object is being raised up, almost like looming, which is why the Georgia State University EDU site has superior mirage and looming mentioned in the same phenomenon. So I wouldn't say that an inferior mirage by nature presupposes a globe. Absolutely not.
Well, wouldn't that just be you saying, I believe the thing that I can use to try to explain away flat Earth, I'll accept that, but anything
Exact same thing as
tries
7
to
over 6
explain
R.
a ball.
Okay.
Yeah.
So hold on,
Yes.
Meisty. So go. Hold on, Meisty. So are you paraphrasing something that I've claimed?
Yes.
Okay. So
No, actually,
what
I'm not paraphrasing. I'm observing what you're doing.
Okay, great.
Just saying.
So hold on. I don't recognize who you're talking about. So if you're talking about me, I have no recollection or recognition of how you just characterized me.
No, I just observed what you were doing. Right?
Okay,
You were
let me
saying,
clarify.
I'm not going to.
No,
it's
Pete,
in the middle of a sentence.
I really don't.
I was in the middle of a sentence, and so Copernicus, what I was seeing that you're doing is you're saying that looming, which is often used to help explain what is happening, why something can be seen beyond a curve,
Okay.
is missing, while saying,
No.
hey, there's things like sinking or inferior mirages, right, that would be used to explain why you would dismiss claims of Earth curve.
I don't really feel that your explanation right now was very clear, but let me just go to your first point with looming. Okay, so looming again.
Yeah. Why are we going here automatically?
Pete, chill, bro. I'm having a conversation with Meisty.
Okay, you're talking with me though about the picture in hand, but off you go.
Well, I
don't want to do that either, right?
No,
It's okay.
I do. I do. I suppose Meisty stepped up before you did, so it is what it is. So
he stepped up during. All I was saying that the inferior mirage is a term, and it's a loaded term brought to us as an explanation by a spinning ball. That's all.
Okay.
We should be careful.
Yeah, but see, again, okay, so right, so I responded to what you said, and then Meisty spoke up, so it is what it is. Okay, so Meisty, again, looming is a description of an observation, and that description does, in its definition, presuppose that the curvature of the Earth is blocking the object, and the reason why you can see it is because refraction brings it up. So where do you want to go from there?
Well, you can measure the curvature through the geometry and distances. What we can also observe is that things do loom up, and you can actually show looming on flat surfaces as much as you can on curved surfaces.
Okay, go to the first point you just brought up. You brought up measurement.
Why is the conversation being encouraged?
Why are you talking right now, Pete?
Why are you encouraging the conversation in this direction as opposed to trying to deal with what's going on with the picture?
Yeah, the long of the short of it is, Copernicus, is that if you want to talk about looming, you can talk about looming on a curved or a flat.
I asked you a question. I asked you a question. Did you hear my question?
Yeah.
Okay, so why aren't you answering my question?
You can use known distances to show that there's curvature. You don't
No, that absolutely not. Absolutely not. So what you're telling me is you're telling me that you can use a mathematical expression of something that is abstract as a hold on. It's a mathematical equation. It's not a measurement. Okay?
Yeah, distances are measurements, yes.
Okay. If you want to bring up something that we can discuss that's tangible or at least visual, then let's do that. Otherwise, I don't think this is going to go anywhere. So we can go back.
Let's hear RC Micey's thoughts on an explanation from the photograph for a flat Earth possibility.
Why do you keep talking over everyone, Pete?
Because why are you jumping in and taking the conversation in a different direction?
So Copernicus, the point is that you do not. Your original supposition here was that looming presupposes curvature. That's not true.
It is true.
No, it isn't.
Okay, well then you don't obviously know or understand Andrew Thomas Young's position on looming. It absolutely does depend upon the fact that you're seeing something that you normally don't see. Why? Because it's behind the curve.
Well, that's for specifically terrestrial refraction. But we can
no,
talk about
sir.
looming is
No,
hey,
sir.
excuse me, I'm going to finish my sentence.
Bring up
the idea of
your quotation?
Hey, I was talking, Copernicus.
Just bring up your citation.
The idea of looming is simply a description of diffraction based on any type of surface that you're looking at. You can loom over a flat surface or a curved surface.
Great rhetoric. Do you have a citation for your statement? Okay, go ahead and produce it, please.
Bearded Devil demonstrated this exactly.
No, I'm talking with Meisty about what he said, left lane, okay?
This is about an actual explanation over a flat, extended plane, right? Not fucking their argument, which we know backside down.
Okay, fine. Pete, let's pick it back up. You and me, let's pick it back up. Okay, so yes, there's an inferior mirage here. I mean, you asked me to interact with you on this, so I'm not sure where you want to go.
Okay, so there's an inferior mirage, but we've got to be careful because when we say that term, it is a loaded term because it's brought over from Ball Earth explanations for similar phenomena that they already assume that there is horizon. So when we look at the
I don't
horizon,
think that's true.
When we look at the seeming horizon there, that is their definitive divide, right? Everything is falling beyond that, and they look for explanations then. That's the point.
Except, and this is what's interesting about it all, Andrew Thomas Young makes the qualification that when you have an inferior mirage over water, or as he said, at sea, the limit of the mirage creates the horizon. So I've made this comment on my show, but he doesn't seem to put the two things together. I don't think he understands the ramifications of what he's saying, because I agree with you, Pete, that if a baller were to look at this, the only explanation for the baller in this photo here as to why there's a limit to the water, it's because at that point, that's where the curvature kicks in. Except now with Andrew Thomas Young, when he says when you have an inferior mirage, limit of the mirage, that is where the mirage stops, that creates the horizon. So that's not a geometrical curve. According to
I just posted my citation here. I just posted my citation that shows that.
Hang on,
Meisty,
that's beyond that.
Meisty, that's not a citation, bro. I see it. Okay, wait. Okay, no.
Copernicus.
Okay, listen.
Shut up and
listen.
And then you can.
No,
talk.
don't tell me to shut up. I've read.
Shut up and listen, and then you can.
I have read this.
Shut up.
I have read this.
Well, let him explain it though, because I've never read it. Audience has.
Okay.
Let him explain the diagram, and then you can.
So with this diagram, we are seeing that looming, particularly when it comes to looming through air. It's about the warm and cold air, and the exchange and the position of that air has nothing to do, and nothing is mentioned when it comes to looming about the shape of the Earth. And it's simply about and explained with, here is the freaking air temperature and the gradients and the differences in those temperatures.
This doesn't even mention looming though. This is just showing.
It does.
I provided a link. This is directly taken from the
section. Yeah, it does. You got to scroll down. You got to scroll down a bit. It's right below the superior mirage, false horizon.
Oh, am I looking at the wrong one? Because all I saw was a little diagram.
Yeah, he posted the HTML link above the photograph or above the diagram.
Oh, I see.
Listen, Meisty. Okay, so look, if I happened to conflate two different sources, that is Andrew Thomas Young and the Georgia State EDU site, I don't think that either one disqualifies the other. Okay, so you have to take them both
I
together
didn't say
because.
that. No, but you said
Okay,
find
so
me a citation that doesn't mention the Earth curve, and I just did.
I did not say that. I didn't say where it doesn't
You
mention
said
the
where
Earth
it
curve.
presupposes the Earth curvature.
Okay, look. I was responding to something that you said. Okay, I don't remember.
And I
Okay,
showed
hold
that
on.
by giving you the
Okay,
citation.
hold on. Chill out, bro. Okay, I don't now remember exactly what you said. All I'm saying is you said something, and I said, where's your citation for that?
Here it is.
Okay, so what was it that you said now? Put me back in that context.
Sure. The context was you claiming that Earth curvature
No.
is
Your
always.
comment.
Would you shut up, Copernicus? I'm talking. And so the context was you had mentioned that looming in particular always presupposes Earth curvature. I said, no, it doesn't. That it only is talking about the medium which light is traveling through. Has nothing to do with whether the Earth is there or not, or what shape the Earth is. And you said provide a citation that doesn't presuppose.
Okay, so
Earth
you're
curvature.
arguing
Hey,
from
stop.
silence.
You said presuppose.
I get it.
Citation that doesn't presuppose Earth curvature.
I get it.
And I said, here you go.
Okay, I get it. So you're arguing from silence because this citation doesn't mention the same thing that Andrew Thomas
You
Young.
literally asked me to provide the citation that does not mention Earth curvature.
Great.
And I showed it to
Okay,
you.
I'm trying to explain for the audience again, right? You are pitting now two sources against each other. Let me say it this way.
I'm not pitting any sources against each other. You asked me to provide a source that doesn't
Shut up,
mention Earth curvature.
Meisty. Shut up, Meisty. That's what you were saying to me, right? Shut up, Copernicus. You were telling me to shut up because I was talking and you interrupted me. So now you can shut up. Okay? We have two sources, Andrew Thomas Young and the Georgia State EDU. Neither of them say exactly the same thing. I said to you, I don't think that means they disqualify each other, and you said, I didn't say they did. So guess what? Your fucking citation doesn't therefore nullify or preclude what I said. Thanks.
You asked me to provide a citation.
Yeah, tell us again.
Bullshit, isn't it?
Not
You're pissing
presupposing
people off who
Earth
wants to listen to
curvature.
this nonsense.
And I just showed it to you. So if you want to now walk back and make a new argument, go right ahead. But everybody heard you ask for that, and everybody saw me
Thank
provide
you for that. He'll consider it, R.C. Meisty. We're looking at possible flat Earth explanations as to what's going on. Travis, when you bring Andrew Thomas Young into it, that's fair enough, but needs must we know he's wrong because he applies his thinking to a ball Earth, which we know is not so. So there's a different explanation in play, and this is what we got to gather. Are you saying, just Travis, for my own satisfaction, when you look at this image, that the thing that appears like the visible horizon is the visible horizon? In terms of water, we're looking over at a surface of water that ends somehow or somewhat at this seeming distance. Is this what your stance is? This is a ball Earth stance, by the way, right? That's what they'll say. They'll pin their crosshairs on that point where the water seems to end and the mirroring begins, and above that then we have the reality. So what are you saying as a flat earther? What is anyone saying? You know, I'm saying something.
What I'm saying is that you can look at phenomena of light refraction with and without the shape of the Earth. We can verify light's behavior through media with and without shapes under it.
Okay. Give me one example of air itself mirroring. Talking about mirroring, seeing air.
One example of what mirroring?
Air. So when we have inferior mirages, this is a phenomenon that's occurring through the air, right? Just through the air itself and our vision through it, right? That's the explanation. Give me one tangible example of air itself mirroring, giving us this mirrored effect. Know what you're going to probably reach for, but I have already an answer prepared for that.
Self-mirroring? What the hell are you talking about?
So when you see mirroring, as we see here on the fucking picture that's before us, I'm not going to say you don't see mirroring now. We see mirroring beneath the target, top of it sticking out, and this is what's called an inferior mirage, right? What's wrong? Am I under the Twilight Zone or something?
No, I just have no clue what you're asking for.
Looking at the image that we're trying to analyze, I was trying to analyze with a flat earther to come to an actual explanation as opposed to a bullshit.
He's not even looking at it. He's probably not even looking at it.
Well, see, that's from saying, what's the point in that? I wasn't even talking to him anyway. I'm not looking for validation from him, from liars. I was asking Travis, and he brought up Andrew Thomas Young, but we know he's wrong. If he says that the top of the inferior mirage, this acts as a false horizon, then
No,
what is he
not
saying?
the top.
Beyond that? There's nothing beyond that?
No, not the top.
No.
Again, I'm going to say it again. I don't think he has thought through
That shows you how much fucking nonsense it all is.
I know.
And then we can debunk them immediately.
I know.
It would be famous if I came up for an explanation for this, because it would defy all modern science explanation. And when it comes to flat earthers, they seem to be lacking
one horizon in this photograph.
There,
no, I wouldn't say that.
I gave you an example there, Dodo, of air, aka clouds in the sky.
Okay, thanks, Meisty. We're talking now. We forgot all about you.
I'll look at it. I'll take a look at it.
Okay, so
you asked for it.
Right, is a horizon is something that you can see.
No.
Okay.
We can see that divide. What seems to be a divide between the water, the ground, right below, and the sky above, and whatever is contained beyond. That's what seems to be an horizon. We admit that the borders would be justified somewhat in claiming that is some sort of a divide.
Okay.
Right?
Okay. What is? I don't know why.
Here's the problem. Actually, I have the problem, Travis. I have the problem. So when they're looking at the image, right, they're looking upwards on that horizon because they say that is a divide. So any phenomena there has to be in the air associated with that. That's how they explain the phenomenon. But we as flat earthers, we're looking backwards into that axis, into the computer, and we're trying to gauge that scale. And if we do get that far, first of all, which the ballers have no hope of, but then you have already quashed Andrew Thomas Young and the best of all, and all the giants of science have. So we've already gone past that milestone. Now we understand we're looking into the image, so we got to gauge a scale, what I call the z-axis, right? X and y-axis. Once we do that, let me finish, please. Here's my point. Once we do that, we understand that beyond what looks like the visible divide, we have to go in that direction, and it's water. It's still water, even though we can't see it.
Okay. I would like to suggest, you've said this a couple of times in previous shows.
I'm
and
just
I want
explaining it, trying to.
Okay.
We're ahead of Thomas Young on this one.
Okay, just real quick, Pete.
New access is into the distance. This is where we incorporate depth. So it'd be more what do you call it, labeled the z-axis than the x-axis. But I think that's where the ball comes into things as well, right? But it's okay. I get your point. Let's call it the x-axis.
Okay. Yeah. So you and I would agree that the x-axis continues past the limit of the water that we can see, the visual limit.
Yes, of course it does.
Yeah. I mean, if you look, well, that would depend on how many observations you can get from this one particular location. Like, this is Rakia. I would say perhaps that this is
water. Must be water going back into the x-axis. And we associate the fucking mirroring with the water somehow. This is the question, isn't it? And I say, of course,
I don't.
Well, let me say this. R.C. Micey just presented, Brandon, if you wouldn't mind presenting R.C. Micey's image there, because I asked him of air mirroring. What he showed me a picture of is water off the surface of the ground.
That's not water, Pete.
Well, here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. rain falls, even when there's no water in a desert, right? The dew will fall in the evening time and be soaked up by the sand. When the sun comes out again in the daytime,
That's not
in the
water.
desert, the road will sweat, right? So what we're actually looking at is over a long extended distance, water on the road
saying
surface.
that
What
it's
it is,
water in the
let me
air.
just say, please, Brandon.
It's
you can see
humidity. Hold
clearly
on,
that it's
Pete.
along the
Hold
road
on, Pete.
surface.
Slow down for a minute, Pete. Slow the fuck down,
Okay.
man. Let me see if I can understand your position.
Okay.
This picture of Rakias, you think it's mirroring off the water?
Oh, hang on. I thought you brought up RC Meister's picture.
Okay,
I asked him
RCs. You think that's water? It sounds like you're saying it's humidity.
No.
You think is it the water in the air that is causing the mirroring, or water on the ground?
Pete.
Hang on. Don't Pete me. Let me listen. I asked him for an example where the
God
air
bless you,
mirrors. Now, who's talking here? I'll shut up if you want to give an
I know. I'm trying to
explanation.
clarify with you what your position is.
Okay.
Are you
So this is
saying
a
it's
different
water
matter
that's on
too.
the ground or
Okay.
water in the air? Humidity.
You're asking RC Meister. Okay, off you go.
No, I'm asking you.
Okay, right, okay. The reason have you that picture up for the audience here to see it? RC Meister.
Yeah, I showed
Just
it.
posted that. I asked him for an example of air mirroring, right? So he posted this. Now, this is not air mirroring. You can clearly see that the surface of the road itself is doing the mirroring, because as the car drove along, I have a picture here if you don't believe me, that shows exactly that. As the car drives along, it's like as if there's a surface of water that's reflecting on the ground. Now, it's not just one surface, as we know, but it's a cumulative sort of angle. We're looking into the x-axis here, into the distance, so it's a cumulative thing. And it's not through the air, it's always along the ground. And the reason we can see it is because concrete absorbs water. And when the sun is out, it attacks water, it evaporates water, and this cumulative effect is always along the ground. And it's the same with a desert mirage. It's always the water and its contact with the surface that gives us this cumulative mirroring effect.
Okay.
And that's my claim.
So you think it's happening on the ground? It's not elevated above the ground?
No, it's not. You're just looking at an image. See the car here.
I'm just trying to clarify your position.
Okay.
You think that this
I'll show you-
mirroring
I'll show you an
is
image, right?
it's actually mirroring on the surface, whether
Yes.
it's on this road, in the desert, or over water. It's
Yes,
on the surface itself.
Yes, it is.
I don't know if I can get with that, because
Always, Brandon.
how can you have a boat drive into it then, and the boat is
Right.
being covered by just a mirage?
Tell
It's
you.
not behind the water, it's being covered by the mirage.
Actually, yes, I'll tell you, man. Because what you don't know, right, is the distance along the surface from where the mirroring begins, if we're still on RC Meister's picture, and where the car, in general, where the car actually is. You have a zoom lens, right, and you have sort of look at the surrounding telegraph poles and everything, making it easier for us to decode the picture. But when you're looking at a boat disappearing, it might be 10, 15, 20 miles into the distance. You don't know how big this mirrored water layer is in scale in relation to the boat itself. So the boat will always tend to sink unless it is of sufficient contrast. And this is why the sun at sunrise and sunset is the greatest contrast, and that will show up the true horizon, the true divide
If
between land
the
and
mirroring is on the surface itself,
Yes.
why would the mirroring appear to cover the bottom of the object?
Because as you're looking at the car here, right? Imagine the car driving away. So it itself, in terms of angular perspective, would disappear into a greater panoramic sort of scale. So in relation to how we view the mirror, this is the thing as well. It sort of behaves like a local mirror. As you can see there, the car and its reflection, the reflection is much stretched. I remember asking Travis a question before, when you're looking at reflections over water, is the reflection the same length, same dimension as what it is reflecting? I think you said yes at the time, which I told you was ridiculous. You can just prove that by going down to your local river. So yeah, sometimes the reflections like this can be many miles in distance, which how they would span over this mirrored water layer. But to our perspective, they would seem almost local.
Yeah, but Pete, you didn't answer my question. How could the mirror layer itself block an object?
Right.
If if the mirroring is happening on the surface, if the object is on the surface, it's not going to be blocked by mirroring that's taking place on the surface below it, right?
It'll be scale. Remember,
But like
you're
this
zooming in with
bridge.
a camera. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's if you're going back to
Rakia's
the original
bridge.
picture.
Half the bridge is covered by the mirror layer,
Yeah.
whatever it is. If that's the surface of the water, then why is it covering half the bridge?
Because it's got to do with your viewing angle, right? It's got to do with where the mirroring actually starts, the distance from the mirroring to the bridge, the mirroring point. You can always identify by the mirroring line, right? And the direction even you can tell as well. So you can also tell the direction of the road. So identify somewhat the distances or appreciate the distances between these landmarks. What you have to remember about this picture, right? If you look beyond that, it seems to be mad. How do you explain that? I say what's actually happening here is an illusion, of course. But if the sun was somehow magically to appear in the backdrop, you'd have a new contrast and a new horizon line would appear in the distance, a higher water line. But because there's nothing in the contrast, it seems that we're just looking at sky, but we're not. We're looking at this mirroring reflecting the sky, and that is fundamentally based on our viewing angle, weather conditions, position of the sun, where the mirroring line actually starts, and a few other things as well.
I agree with a lot of that, but not the idea that the mirroring is happening on the surface itself. I think it's elevated above the surface, and the reason I think that is Pete the Great did this, some kind of observations / experimental type stuff in a shed, and he captured this mirror layer blocking a light. I'm sure you've seen this. Showing it on my screen. So all he did was open the door behind him. There's a light on the ground. There's these targets on the ground. You can see them here at the beginning. That's what they look like. And then the light is on the ground itself. And he opens the door right here. Okay, so he opens the door, let cold air in the warm factory, and then he closes it, and that light is going to completely blink out, and the mirroring.
Does that mirror him?
No, something
That's
just
him.
Did we go back in time?
Yeah, where are we? I'm scared.
It's the great reset. It's finally happened. Yeah. Maybe Brandon should reconnect. Oh, this is very interesting because I had thoughts on this when you showed it last time, whenever that was. I don't think I was here for it.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah, very interesting. It's the mirroring itself which is changing things. The water surface is mirroring, so it sets up an angle, a limiting angle. So anyway,
Can you guys hear me?
I'm not sure if Brandon.
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, I'm back now. Okay, I guess me sharing my screen screwed everything up, the audio and everything. Yeah, it's my mic. Yeah, hopefully it's good now. I was raptured. Smurfer Girl says maybe he was raptured. Anyway, so yeah, this is the mirroring blocking the object above the surface. I don't think the mirroring is happening on the surface. It appears to be taking place above the surface, and it's even blocking a light that is on the surface. So
I set up to get a grasp on this. There is a mirror. So is that a target? Just piece of cardboard at the end, just drawn.
This is what it looks like. It's
just. It's
oh, I gotta share my screen. Shit.
Maybe it's not mirroring.
This is really giving me a problem. I hope this doesn't screw things up, but I'll share it so you can at least see the target.
Okay, so this
looks
is what
like
he
this.
has connected to the end. Okay.
Okay, and then he opens the garage door behind him and lets some cold air into the warm factory, and then closes the door again. And then the light blinks out, and you can see it's mirrored like quite a bit off the surface, and it blocks the light.
Okay, let's have a look.
Has anybody else been having trouble with Discord lately? I don't know if Discord keeps screwing up on me.
Only when I'm driving.
Yeah.
But this is my hell, Brandon. Whenever I talk to Pete about these things, because I ask him the same question that you just asked him. Because
But listen, hang on, please. Why is it your hell?
Pete. I'm talking to Brandon. You said you were looking at the picture. That's why I started talking to Brandon. Can I talk to Brandon, please?
Pretty insistent, Travis. Why don't you be more careful with your language, Jan? Because
Wow.
you difficulty answering any of my questions. But off you go.
Wow.
Off you go.
Okay. Again, these are the exact questions that I have for Pete because, in my opinion, the angle of the mirage that goes higher than the level of the ground that will cut off the observation higher than the level of the ground, to me, is just a clear demonstration that the event is happening above the surface of either the ground in the desert or the water over a lake or over the ocean. So I still don't think, hold on. Brandon, I still don't think, because I was listening, because you were asking
You
instead
never
of me.
think.
Thanks, Ed.
It's taking a long time to say nothing, Travis. For God's sake.
Okay, great. I'll just stop then.
Listen,
No.
Look in the image. I'm looking at what Brandon's posting.
I'm just gonna go on mute. F you, man.
You see what you have to say?
Pete. I didn't even get to say what I wanted to say. I forgot now.
Can I just say? I need to Pete quickly. I just need to quickly interject and just say shout out to Travis. Travis has a recent video with a PhD holder in refraction, or optics, should I say? And please go and watch that. Shout out Travis before you go on mute.
Thanks, Spleen.
A big team here. You're sort of inter-supporting one another. And Thomas Young will probably be on your show next, Travis. So you have to show these guys some respect.
Why not? Why not grill them?
Well, why not? Because they're liars. Because they're ultimately liars. Now, if you want to deal with them somewhat, that's fair enough. You don't have to deal with them here. And I'm free to say what I have to say. As I said, immediately, these fucking intellectuals are all ruled out because they apply all their theorizing. Deceptively so, by the way, because I believe all of them know, that most of them anyway, know the Earth is flat. They're smart enough to know what we know, right, and beyond. But, yeah, when it comes to real explanations offered, they're going to be out from the fucking gates. Simple as that. So, entertain them if you want. But beyond that,
okay, Brandon.
That's all I say.
What the hell are you talking about, Pete? Yeah.
Talking about Andrew Thomas Young. Why not respect him so, Brandon? Because they're liars, first of all. But second of all, any theorizing that they do is applied to spinning ball Earth, which we know is out. So
but we're talking amongst ourselves. You and I were having a conversation about this video and where the mirroring was happening. But
he wants everybody to think his way. He wants everybody to think his way.
Gleam came in, Gleam came in and said, I want to shout out to Travis. He's a new video, and there'll be a new one coming up with a respected physicist or whatever on his show.
No, I said that it had been. You then inserted the next one with Andrew Thomas Young on.
Well, Travis has been mentioning quite a lot, and you mentioned him the last time. I think he got muted for.
Are you having troubles? Are you having troubles, Pete, with
what's
the
wrong with you, Gleam?
voice in your head making shit up?
When I'm just trying to come to terms with what's going on. Brandon's showing a video here. First of all, Travis came in there and said, "This is my hell dealing with Pete." We have a classic garage here, right? And you need a massive extrapolation to apply it to real.
Okay, fine, Pete. Yeah. Great monologue.
I'm still even trying to come to terms with what I'm seeing, right?
Okay, great monologue. Okay, Brandon.
Monologue, and I spoke for 30 seconds.
Go ahead, Travis.
Okay, I just have a question. Okay, so you asked Pete the same question that I have asked him numerous times.
Yeah.
Do you feel that he answered your question?
No, not at all.
Thank you.
Hang on, please. What do you mean?
You didn't answer my question. I said my question is in this video, we see the mirroring taking place above the surface. It's blocking the light, and it's mirroring parts of these targets that we know are above the surface. So how can the mirroring be taking place on the surface of the floor when we see it blocking objects above the floor?
Okay, first of all, Brandon, you cut off mid, what do you call it? Second of all,
Really?
I'm sort of looking at this for the first time, right? And I'm trying to gauge what might be actually going on. It'd probably be better will you put a link in the chat? I'll have a look at it and give you my...
Yeah, but the thing is, Pete, his video is going to show you the exact stuff that I have shown you and ask you the same question. How can...
I don't know that yet. Every video you've shown, I've explained it.
No, you haven't. Listen very
Yes, I
carefully.
have.
Okay, listen very carefully. How can the ground produce obstruction of something higher than the ground?
Because, shithead.
Oh,
now
we're okay. Great.
You understand? Right.
Great.
Right. Yeah. I'm telling you this. Don't have that tone with me then, but I'm telling you this because as flat earthers, we understand that we're looking...
Is this your monologue right now?
So what's this about now?
Is this your monologue right now? Just answer my question.
You're doing this on purpose now, aren't you? Because I got 5 words out there, man.
You're on a monologue. Just answer my fucking question.
Can I be on a monologue when you ask me a question and I got 5 words into the answer?
Okay, here's my question again. How? Okay, so...
I don't need your question again. I heard it the first time.
Okay, after I ask my question, you should start your answer with this.
Shut your mouth. I heard your question. Go on mute. As flat earthers, we understand, right, that we're looking into the distance, that the horizon will always tend to rise to eye level. So how to gauge how far it is to this, find it first and figure how far it is to the horizon, how far we can actually see. We can judge this sometimes by the sunrise and sunset when we identify a mirroring line over water. Now, when we gauge somewhat the distance, right, this expanse of this mirrored water layer, let's try to put a fucking dimension on it. For the sake of argument, let's say it's a 50. Hang on, Brandon. Don't laugh, please. Let's say it's a 50 by 50.
Oh my God.
Let's say it's a 50 by... What the fuck is wrong with you?
You're not addressing the fucking question.
I'm addressing it.
Okay.
For God's sake, I'm telling you that the ship or whatever is disappearing into this layer is of known dimension.
The address is the other way around the
The layer
world.
itself isn't known. The dimensions of the layer that we're looking at isn't even fucking considered, not to mind known.
Oh my God. This is my hell.
What's wrong with what I'm saying?
The question.
This is my hell.
What I'm saying, man.
Pete's point in short, Pete's point in short is as soon as you get to that horizon area, there is blockage, and Pete's whole point is that there is further land that you can't see due to the mirroring effect of the water at that finite
because you
acute
haven't
angle.
scaled. We haven't scaled. First of all, here's what you need to do. Okay, please, 1 second. Here's what we need to do as flat earthers, right?
Okay.
Consider that the horizon will always rise to eye level. So where there's a seeming dip, it's only an illusory dip. Beyond that, distance is compressed in the x direction, and the water, right, compresses and goes back to its reflective form. So everything between the seeming horizon and what appears to be horizontal, eye level, this is water. Now, you have to gauge the fucking scale of that, because if you have a boat that's disappearing into that, from your relative perspective,
oh my
will
God,
go further and further into this greater mirror.
Oh my God.
That's my answer and done, Travis, you little bollocks.
Okay,
so I was just thinking, in order for you to agree with Pete, you have to first admit you see curvature for there to be an illusion of curvature, right? So I don't think they're going to go with that one, Pete. Just saying.
Well, we've got experimental evidence that it's happening in the air. It's happening above the surface.
Man.
I know.
It can't happen above the surface, Travis, because we accept that we're looking, or Brandon, because we're looking over an extended plane. So you're looking through, let's say you're at 6 feet. Are you telling me when you look into the far distance that you're looking through that same 6 feet of air? You can't be. That would just down to the ground. In the
I'm going to ask you again, Pete. I'm going to ask you again.
Why must you interrupt me every fucking... Shut your
You
mouth,
were done.
Travis.
You were
Don't
done with
interrupt
your
me
question.
again. It's done, though.
Or what? Or what, Pete? What are you going to
Don't
do?
interrupt me out of politeness. I was done with my statement.
Well, don't call me shithead, okay?
He will
You
smite
call me
you.
shithead then.
You called me shithead.
He will smite
You're
you.
a
Just
shithead. There's
you
a
don't want
reason
to
I
get
call
smited.
you shithead.
Okay, listen again. Right? Listen again. I'm going to say the same thing to you that I've said to Rumpus and others. Unless you have gotten out and spent the time taking these videos, right? Because I thought that it was the surface of the water when I first started this, these observations with my camera. I had to change my mind. One of the things that helped me change my mind was filming.
Rumpus.
One of the things that helped me change my mind was filming.
Rumpus.
What the fuck? Was filming.
Fucking rumpus. Always goes in a rumpus.
The lighthouse on the Chesapeake Bay, which was 10 feet above the water surface. 10 feet above and about 25 feet beyond. Okay? So when I saw that the mirage was blocking something higher than the water level and farther back, it was a natural conclusion to readjust my interpretation. It cannot be the water surface creating the mirage, because the water surface would have to then go up higher than the base of the lighthouse, which is why Brandon is asking you the question.
Right, but have you appropriately scaled this two-dimensional image that you're viewing? You understand that you have magnification in your camera, so it'll pick up the contrast. But have you appropriately scaled what you're looking at? Because if you haven't, well, then you're in trouble, man.
No, okay.
You have to understand the
Hold
scaling.
on.
It's not just
Okay.
an ordinary mirror.
Okay,
It's the whole
Pete.
of the water between you,
Okay,
right, and
Pete.
the target itself.
Okay, okay,
It has a certain dimension to it.
Okay.
Understand that.
Okay, Pete. You cannot scale an object in a refraction phenomenon. Fuck that. You
Can, of
cannot.
Have you ever
Okay.
looked at have you ever looked at a lake on a sunny day and it was completely still,
Okay.
lake, small enough, and the whole lot of it was reflecting?
Okay,
Have you ever looked
Pete.
at that?
Okay, Pete.
Have you?
If-
Yes or no? You appreciate what I'm saying? Yes or no? That'll do.
Okay, Pete, are we talking about a mirage right now?
Listen to me. Can you asked me, you made a specific statement. I'm asking you a question to clarify. Can we all relate to looking at a small enough lake on a summer's day and the whole lot of it reflecting, the whole of the surface? Can we
I
do
have
that?
a question. I have a question of clarification. May I ask you a
Yes, we
question of
can.
clarification?
I thought the question was pretty simple, but off you go.
Are we talking about a mirage right now?
No, we're talking about the surface
Then
of
fuck off.
water mirroring.
It's not the same thing. The
It is the
surface
same
of the
thing.
Okay, the surface of water reflecting is not a mirage, Pete.
It is, but the ballers say that it isn't
I'm
because
out.
they say
I'm out.
they
No,
say
we
I'm out.
say that it isn't.
Hang on, the
We say that
ballers
it
say
isn't.
It isn't. Oh, go on.
We say that it isn't, Pete. Flat Earthers say that it isn't.
okay.
Travis is saying that
I
it
get you
isn't.
that.
I'm saying that it isn't.
Okay, well, I'm saying that you agree with the ballers then, because I'm telling you why
I
they
don't-
say it though. But hang on, Brandon. I'm telling
Okay,
you
why do they say
say
it?
it.
All right.
Because when they look at a phenomena and they see, like in Makia's picture here, they see a seeming divide between a sky and earth. This is labeled as geometric horizon, a barrier. Everything is falling away beneath that. So the only reason that they say inferior miraging is because they've done away with the possibility that it could be water. And Travis has already admitted that it is water. But yeah, they attribute inferior miraging to phenomena due to the air itself, right? Nothing
All right.
beneath the air. No,
There's two things here. Two things. This water probably does go further, but it's also blocked by the mirage. This isn't the limit of the water, right? This isn't the water horizon. It's not like the water comes up to here and then the mirage is above it. The mirage probably starts here, wherever this is, in proximity to the viewer, and keeps going off into the distance. So probably miles in between where this mirage starts and where that bridge is at least, and certainly across the street where these, or across the lake where these, fucking whatever they are bushes or whatever the hell, trees. That's miles, dude. And that's blocking the rest of the water. Yeah. But it's also higher than the water. So it's blocking the bridge.
So
just
you're
like
saying
we
the
saw
mirage
in
is-
Pete the Great's video.
Yeah, you're saying the mirage is a phenomenon of the air itself then as well.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair enough. I'll show you a picture now when I can. It's along the lines of the picture R.C. Meisty presented there, and it's clear to see that all of the mirroring is along the surface of the road. I'll show you another image where it's even clearer. So
yeah,
why would we assume
that's so short distance, Pete. That's such
Here
a
we
short
go,
distance,
yeah.
though.
Right, so when we
it's
extend it
not
to
going to
long
be
distance-
discernible. The difference between the surface
Right.
and the height of that mirage above it isn't going to be discernible. It may be due to the angle. What we're talking about is when you look over long distance over horizontal
The principle
flat
will be the same,
water
Brandon.
like this.
Hang on, we have to
Huh?
extend the principle. Remember, we're dealing with a road that's just made of water fundamentally. So as we can look into the great distance, if the mirroring, as we've experienced it in life, is always along the surface contact, right, then why would we assume different for the water? So why would the miraging
Because of
be anything
observation
other
and
than along the
experiment.
surface of the water?
Observation and experiment. We just showed you Pete the Great's experiment.
I haven't had a chance to look
And
at
Pebble
that
in the
yet.
pond, as he goes by now, Pebble. Shout out Pebble.
Okay. Look at that.
But all right, just show me your picture. Bring your picture back. Let's table this for a minute, unless somebody else wants to talk about it. But I did want to ask Travis. Your name is mentioned in this hyperphysics gsu.edu site.
I know. How about that? Isn't that cool?
Yeah, it says thanks to Travis Finley for
Made it.
photography and discussion of mirages and the nature of mirages of the sky.
Right.
And then it links to the etherband.com, which I didn't even know you had, dude. How the fuck did I miss that?
You don't watch my stuff, Brandon. It's okay. I understand.
I haven't watched your stuff lately. I'll admit that.
You lot
I have watched your stuff in the past, though.
on the panel.
I watch it sometimes.
Can
I
I
watch it
just make an
sometimes, yeah.
observation? Can I make an observation that needs to be made, I think? For those that have been involved in the scene for more than 2-3 years, would have probably just heard that exact conversation, 20-minute conversation, 400 times, not only on Sean G's, but also on Ranty's. And it has always been a lifelong thing of Pete versus Travis. Okay, and well, no, and there is validity. Let me back you up, Pete. Calm down, chill out, calm down, Pete. I get where Pete's coming from, because there is an area or an angle, let's say, called it's the critical angle of light. And you can see it when you get a glass of water and you look, if you put it right on the top of the surface, if you look dead across the surface, you'll see the ceiling mirrored in it. Okay, now that is at a particular angle. If you think your perspective makes the floor appear to rise up, Pete is talking about that very last tiny bit of the horizon, saying that that mirroring makes the horizon appear slightly lower than what it should do, even though it is rising to eye level. Okay, so either way, I agree with that. But I was on that sentiment. Me on maths, trying to work that out. I was running with exactly what he was saying. Then I come across Travis's channel, and there was one thing that I could not explain, and still, ever since then, he's proved me right and right again that I cannot explain using that concept. Wait there. I need to get out Travis's point of view. But Travis showed me over a lake, which isn't really that long a distance. Okay, just over a lake, he could cover a whole 2-story house on different days due to refraction. And it had nothing to do with this last minute of a minute bit of angle, albeit that would still exist, Pete. Travis has never, ever denied that existing, but what he's saying is, my ether band covers that shit up, so fucking forget about that.
Hang on, Gleam. You talked about the glass of water and getting that angle, Just right, and then it starts mirroring. Now imagine you were looking at a target and the wall in the background. There's the ability there to block something. But remember, it's not just a glass of water. It's water all the way. Once it starts to mirror, it continues to mirror all the way. So it's not a thin band. It's a massive band, but we have
No, I
to
agree with
determine
that.
the dimensions of it.
But now put on your horizon a house, a 2-story house. Yeah. Now the mirroring part would make it appear as if it's floating, like your floating boat illusion. Yeah. Now here's the point that I'm trying to make. What Travis has is images where it's as if someone's pulled up the sea in front of it and hidden it. But you can tell it's not the sea. You can tell it's waviness of a ether band, and that's where he comes. That's where he gets it from.
But you know what my explanation is? I've seen them. I told him he lined up the pictures.
He's not even listening to you, Gleam.
I heard him. You little bollocks. I heard everything he said.
I didn't say, listen very carefully. I didn't say you didn't hear him. I said you're not listening.
I am listening, and I was giving an answer, you little bollocks, and I got 5 fucking words out again. What the fuck is wrong with you? Told Travis he lined up the pictures wrong. The variable here is
Incorrect. No, very much incorrect. I've got to defend him on that. I've looked at other footage, and even other footage shows half of it missing.
You haven't heard
3/4.
What are you interrupting like this for?
Because you're wrong.
You
That is completely wrong.
Criticism of him, not anyone else's. Mine. Said he lined up the images wrong. What's the variable here is when the water starts to mirror. This is where you have to bring the background into sync and then gauge everything against that. That's all. That's what he did wrong. That's all. Because the earlier the horizon
You need
starts
to watch
mirror,
more of his channel, seriously.
The earlier the water starts to mirror, remember, you're looking over with a zoom lens across a massive distance. Then the greater chance this has of imposing on what you see in the great distance. Remember that. So
Look, Pete, I think that your idea and suggestion debunks a paper done by David Lynch called Flat Earth in a Ship's Wake. Okay, I think that is the correct explanation for why the triangle is not made. Okay. However,
and sunsets
it's undeniable that Travis's phenomena that he explains as the ether band exists, and he's captured it on photograph. I doubt. I personally, from my experience, I do not think Travis has got the experience enough to fake that. Okay, I think he's capturing that. I've watched him capture that live, and
I'll take that as a compliment.
Interpreting what you're seeing.
No,
it's not about faking.
I really like the rawness of you,
smudges.
Travis.
It's just smudges.
It's about
Come on,
faking
Glenn.
anything. It's about interpreting
That's the
what
point.
we're seeing.
That is the point. But I agree with you, Pete. I agree with you. You know, I've always backed you, and I've always said there will always be that mirror part. Definitely.
It's not just a mirror little line. It's a mirror layer going back into the distance. Here's the distinction.
Yeah, but Travis is Trump's yours. It's as if Travis has got 10 times the effect on yours. Put it that way. Travis puts down the ether Trump card.
For a minute. If we're looking out
and
over
everyone
water,
drinks.
Right? If we're looking out over water, the real horizon is the astronomical horizon. So when we see a dip, right, or a dip can be measured, we know, as we gauge the x-axis appropriately, that between the astronomical horizon and the visible horizon, it's water all the way. It's water all the way, and necessarily has to be water all the way. What the fuck else can it be? You're dealing with a surface here. We just can't determine it because
it can be thick water
it mirrors
in
the sky beyond.
Pete, do you believe in rolling fog? Pete, do you believe in rolling fog? Do you believe in rolling fog? Have you ever seen that ever before? Michigan, Lake Michigan has a really lovely video on it on the YouTube. It's rolling fog.
I know this. I'm talking about mirroring here, Gleam. I know there's many.
Yeah, no. This is my point. Yeah, the rolling fog, a big cloud of fog coming into your vision and bigger than you, will block any of your horizon. Now that is the equivalent of what. Basically, take a half a fog cloud. And that is exactly what Travis is talking about. There's so much water in the air, or humidity, or temperature inversion is the exact thing. There's so much temperature inversion there in that layer that it's blocking you even seeing the mirror part right in the background. Yes, that mirror part is still there.
What's the form of? Okay, well, what's the form of this layer then? What are the dimensions of it? I'm talking about your explanation, Gleam. How far does it go back into the atmosphere?
This is what
it sort of a
Travis
ether, man. It looks
explores.
like ether.
This is
Is
what
it like
he
a wave
explores.
atmosphere from the
He's
vision,
he's
from the point
saying
of view
it's
of the
not
camera?
even. It's not even in the x-axis all the way. You've got to, and that's exactly what Metabunk says. Mick West says no. You've got to have a vertical temperature which is straight up. Yep, but it's best to have the line of sight temperature as well. And a few people have done that. Have taken where they can possible temperature measurements across a view. So you can get the difference in how, there's a hot bit there, that will spike the air up, the light up, and then back down again or something.
Look, if you didn't know what you were looking at, you wouldn't be able to discern some of these mirages. But once you do know what you're looking at, then everything is different. I posted an image in chat of I just saw it on a racetrack, Formula One racetrack, and it's clear that all the mirroring is happening along the ground. But if you didn't know that, if the track was a fucking 10 miles away and you were zooming in on it, and the same thing was happening, you would swear that, first of all, the real horizon was much nearer, but that the car was floating off of the ground on top of an inferior mirage. So, there's all these different things to consider as flat earthers. As ball earthers, they have one answer, one conclusion. Not as flat earthers.
Would you
we
call
understand
that the
we're looking
mirrored
into the far
asphalt?
distance.
Pete, would you call that the mirrored asphalt layer?
Yes, this is a mirrored water layer along the asphalt, Brian. Brian? You're fucking dealing in all this.
I agree, it's water, bro. Hey, I agree. It's 100%
There's no
agree.
water on the pavement.
There's no water there.
Does
Let
concrete
me let you know where I
water?
stand. Let me let you know where I stand, Pete.
There's
I
no
believe
water
100%,
on the pavement.
but I don't think it's all water. I think it's also, for a lack of better words, ether. It's like the moisture on top of the water and on top of the asphalt and the humidity and shit. And it's like a gradient. But for a lack of better words, a fucking type of ether band. I mean, that's fair to say, bro. I'm not denying your mirrored water layer, but in combination with the fucking ether band, we're rock solid, man.
That's along. Well, then the ether band acts along the
Can
water.
I jump in real quick? Can I just jump in?
Hang on, please. Let me answer, Brian. Well, then, Brian, the ether band acts along the water, the surface, because all that water mirroring is happening along the surface of beneath the cars. That's clear as day. Beneath
That's
them.
not water, Pete. There's no
It's
water
water.
on that
Let me
track.
just jump in real quick.
It's
There is
water.
no
It's
water
water
on that track.
vapor. It's water vapor, which is what the sun evaporates, which is fundamentally the ether. Off you go, Travis. Yes.
Okay, just real quick again. There is a difference between a reflection and a mirage. They are not the same phenomenon.
So, yes, they are.
We can have multiple phenomena.
The heat from the road. Yeah, sorry, the heat from the track going up, the steam that you get off the top of that, let's say, that is what's doing the redirection of light.
So,
in my understanding.
You'll find that only objects on the track will mirror. As you go higher, you won't see the mirroring as much unless you change the viewing angle, right? And you
That's
see the
only
mirroring
because
along the ground,
1 centimeter
distorts your
before.
view of what's in the background because it's too small to see.
No, that's because 1 centimeter before the actual mirroring is the ground bit that's got the steam going up. And then as soon as you go back, you're looking through that steam, if you get that. And that's through the ether band layer.
Hey, let's agree to
I
disagree.
don't know whether I'm describing that, Travis.
The
Let's all
ether
agree to
band layer that
disagree.
is a millimeter or a
Just listen.
centimeter along the ground. Okay.
Let's just call it a bending space light.
There
call
we
it a
go.
fucking
Bending
mirror.
space light. Yeah.
Let's call it a fucking mirror effect on the ground. We know that
It's all
fucking
relative
tracks are
anyway.
Water, for God's sake.
Yeah, and look at the time. 119, 911 backwards. 109. The 9th
Ooh,
of
it's a
October.
message, Pete. What the fuck?
That's
Explain yourself,
that's the
Pete.
time dilation. We got both sorted in this one picture, mate.
You think this is accidental? I don't think so.
What does it mean, Pete?
Where's that? Where's one? I thought you were saying the time is 11:19. What? Where's 119?
On Russell's time. Russell's time at the bottom.
On your
I'm
thing
way
here.
down the smoke. I didn't see the picture you put up.
Yeah, I think he's subliminally just trying to deny all knowledge now.
Yeah, come on, Pete. Don't you see it? Look at that. So obvious, man. Anyway, so Does anybody else agree with Pete that it's all taking place on the surface and there's no air
I
layer?
was going to say good leeway out of that, but damn, we brought it back.
Let me say one
I
more
was
thing
trying
to clarify, Brandon.
to. I was one step at a time.
I know. All right, go on.
We got to ease it.
I think what Pete says is awesome, man, to open people's minds up to what's going on. But when you look deep into it, man, you got to understand there's a band. Obviously, and I think when you look at sky freeze footage, and sometimes you see like a mirror and refraction looking when it's jumbled up. I think it's a mixture, like a fucked up combination of both, maybe. But I don't know. If Pete's denying the ether band, then he's wrong. But if Travis is denying the watered mirror layer, he's wrong.
I don't deny the ether
Well,
band.
I'll tell you this, Pete. You really should watch Travis's channel more, and make sure you catch every video.
Lots of his videos, Brandon, and everything that I've come across, every challenge that Travis has presented, I've been able to explain much better than anyone, actually. Anyone.
He's been able to hand wave dismiss. Brian, listen very carefully, Brian. Listen very carefully.
Listen to the way he jumps in. Hang on. Listen to the way he jumps in every time I do this.
He's been quiet for about 20 minutes, man.
I know, right? But hang on. You're listening to an explanation.
No, not hang on. You've been talking for 30 damn minutes. Travis hadn't said anything.
Let me hear Travis, man.
I let him finish, but he jumped in again after I fucking said something.
Yeah, but he's the fucking expert on this shit, dude.
He's not an expert in my eyes. He knows fucking nothing about it.
All right.
All right, this is just for Brian. Just for clarification again. I do not deny that water can mirror, but that is called a reflection. When we cross over into a phenomenon event called a mirage, it is no longer on the water and no longer the same kind of reflection. Okay?
I'd be a fool to deny that.
Hey, hang on, Dave. You don't be so. Hang on, Brian. Don't be fucking so quick to rush in, Brian.
Wait, he was talking to Brian though. He said Brian. He addressed Brian.
I know that. But Dave, Rakir Life posted an image there. You see it in chat.
Hey, Pete, can you take a back seat? It's not all about you. Okay?
Piss off. I'm the only one offering up the fucking explanation I'm offering up.
Okay, listen, Brian. Right, you called me out. You said if I denied the mirrored water layer, right? So I tried to clarify. So was my clarification acceptable?
Yeah, perfectly, man. This is
my turn.
Anybody who denies that to me is just not seen enough, or is just denying for fucking.
Just to back Travis up, he said that 3 years ago as well. That his stance has never changed.
2 years ago, he changed his stance. He told me.
No, not on the difference between a mirror layer, a mirror reflection of a water surface versus his ether band. He has never changed. That, but he's
decided he changed his stance in the form of he decided that the mirroring, the mirage layer is along the x-axis now as opposed to the z-axis, right?
That's just adding 3 dimensions to it. Come on, Pete. That is not a change of mind. That's understanding that there's a different dimension. Nothing more. Come on. Stop stretching, Pete. Come on, please.
What are you doing?
Who cares? Let's move on.
Same sort of group, aren't you? Why must you fucking resist so much?
I'm defending you. I'm defending you, Pete, right? But I half defended you because you're attacking something that is genuine.
Both camps, man, and I don't appreciate
Refraction's genuine, reflection is genuine. Internal reflection is genuine.
You're wrong. I'll clarify where you're wrong, Gleam, in terms of your interpretation of what I'm saying. All I wanted to say, primarily there, Brian, was when we're looking at an image for decoding, we have to sort of take all the parts. To take all the parts. Listen, you're a little bollocks, aren't you, man?
Pete, come on, man. Come on. You've been talking all night.
Said this exact sentence 4 times.
20 seconds, Brandon. And you have someone saying, God damn, I'm so impatient.
Because it's the same sentence. You were always saying we have to analyze all the parts.
Right, so you have to take all the parts and scale them all appropriately. You have to gauge the grader's setting and then place everything in its proper place. That's all. You don't seem to be able to do that.
Okay. Don't respond to that. Don't anybody respond to that. All right. Anyway.
Gravity, yeah.
When did you get your website, Travis? How long you had that?
I probably did it like maybe about 6 months ago. I wanted to start to put out my information without any flat Earth association whatsoever. So the etherband.com, I don't mention any flat Earth. I just put it out there and just see what the algorithms will do, see what kind of traffic I get. Yeah. So I mean, I just put basically everything out there and just tried to present it as even keeled as possible. Kind of like what I try to do. Yeah.
What kind of traffic do you get? Probably just mostly hot babes stopping by, right?
Yeah, I've lined up about 3 or 4. No, not at all.
God damn it! All kidding aside, Travis, probably pretty smart and may contribute to you getting a little more progress in your ideas.
Well, I mean, I haven't seen anything really. I even though I said what I said about seeing what kind of traffic I get, I have no discipline to look at all the algorithms. Like, I don't follow up with that kind of stuff, so I have no idea. But I will tell you that I haven't gotten any emails from anybody who have come across my information. So I don't know if it's still like easily found by people who are just looking up refraction or mirages. Have no idea how all those algorithms work, but for whatever, it's out there. And
believe in the ether, Travis.
What?
Well, you've already got one other website that's linked to it, so that's pretty fucking cool.
Well, yeah. Well, that just happened because of the interaction that I had last week with the PhD who ran the website for the Georgia State EDU. So he and I had exchanged some emails, and I sent him some photos, and then I invited him to a Zoom meeting, and the video that I put out on Saturday, just 2 days ago, is that Zoom meeting. So
maybe you'll be famous, Travis.
Hey man, who the hell
I'm not looking for that?
is?
I'm not looking for that.
Do you believe in the ether? Then you're getting some attention now. Do you believe in the ether?
Hey, do you post links to your website ever?
Because the ether band is a cause, so you must heartily believe in the ether because it's sort of central to your work.
Okay, listen. From the beginning, when I started using the term ether band, I distinguished my term from the luminiferous ether. Okay, so even though the luminiferous ether is a completely different idea, my term of using the ether is just simply to refer to the air, and it's always air over the terrestrial surface. So it's not going to be anything higher than 2 or 3 meters.
I actually think there
the
is
term
an ether
does
band.
give the ballers fits, though.
It doesn't matter
because they hear the word ether and they just can't handle it.
Right, but let me clarify, Brandon. My when I say I think there is an ether band, so there's an energy coming from above and it hits the surface and it's about 5 foot above the Earth's surface, and that's a clear zone. I think there is an ether band, but it is connected to the real ether. That's crazy. You can't call me crazy for that, Travis, can you?
Who the heck is? Where is Brandon's FE model?
That's Ed.
That's Ed.
Good God, what a donkey!
Rakia Life has a brilliant. Rakia Life, Brandon, has a brilliant sunset video. Rakia Life has a brilliant sunrise to sunset video he posted here. That'd be something very interesting to take apart because I know what's going on here.
Yeah, you know all things, Pete. I sit at your feet.
Be better than anybody.
I sit at your feet, Pete the all-wise.
What's not see this bollocks here? I want the same type of fame as you want, Travis. To beat the all-wise when I come up for an explanation, something I was thinking about from the start. Not because I wanted to be wise, because I wanted to figure out what was going on.
Pete, do you have to dominate every hangout?
Yeah, take a break.
Hey,
Pete.
I wanted to say something, man.
Shut up, you fucking liar, left lane.
They had a good idea with in the early flat Earth. When you look back at the days when they were doing like tracking the sun and stuff, they were onto something, man. Because if we're ever going to make a map, we're going to need cartographers and all that, but we could help get him the data and shit. I was looking at Mitchell from Australia's sunrise. He does his flat Earth school and everything. If you hadn't went to Mitchell from Australia. Check him out. It's right before this show every weekday. But he does live sunrises, and I'm looking at his sunrise, and I'm looking at the sun. You know, out. I mean, I can see the sun, and it's rising in Australia. So somehow with this map, it's not as far as the AE map is showing. I mean, I think Antonio Subrats had a map he put together, which to me is the best flat Earth map there is. It still may have Australia off a little bit, but it's a lot closer. It's going to have something to do with the declination, magnetic declination. It's going to have, but how could the sun be up, you know, or setting? You know, how can I even still see the sun above the trees at my house and on the east coast of the United States when it's rising in Australia? That puts it no more than 12 or so hours away on either model, right?
Where do you think the maps we have that we use for navigation are inaccurate, Brian?
The problem is the AE map is a globe projection, and so like I said, all the big. I mean, you'd have to do it that way if you're starting in the center. You got to make the rings bigger and bigger. So basically, what that means is the first ring underneath the equator is equal to the size as the first ring above the equator, and then the second ring down below that is equal to the second ring above the equator. It's the azimuthal equidistant. So if you do it right, you know, it maps out a lot better for flat Earth distances. People don't take that shit into account when you're supposed to if you're using a fucking AE map. But still, we need to make one. I don't know, just throwing it out there, see if anybody had something to add to that.
No, I just wondered if you'd noticed anywhere that the standard maps we use based on, you know, global Cartesian coordinates are inaccurate. If you've identified anything.
Yeah, there's a lot of inconsistencies. The devil's in the detail, man. You know.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. Exactly. I was wondering if you had a specific, you know, from here to here doesn't seem to be right.
I don't know, man. I think it just means that to me, the northern hemisphere would actually be bigger, and the southern hemisphere would be smaller in real life, man. That's and then some of these magnetic declinations, like Australia, seems to give problems. I mean, there's a whole fucking anomaly down the whole east coast of South America where they blame satellites and GPS. They call it the South Atlantic anomaly. There's South Pacific anomaly, but the South Atlantic anomaly covers the whole damn east coast except for right by the equator where you would have no problems. And they're blaming it on that. And I mean, I did a video on that. I'm gonna remake it since I've learned a little bit more since then, and put it out to show like they're making excuses for the globe without even calling them globe excuses for their GPS and their satellites and shit.
Well, I don't really know of any, and that's what I was after, so I could go down that rabbit.
I can't believe we don't have any cartographers, you know, or any. I don't know. I guess I do believe it. Shit's censored to death, man.
Cartographers. Well, we do kind of have cartographers.
Yeah, but somebody high up in like the, you know, we
surveyors.
get second, you know, we get some leaks on information on flight paths and stuff, but why would that shit be so fucking classified? Excuse my language. Why would flight paths and stuff be so, the routes, I mean, it's just not information. And then if you want to look at surveys, you can't find the good ones. You got to pay like a fortune to see them. And I don't know. I'm wondering if anybody's paid the money.
I have access to a lot of paywalls, Brian. So if you ever want to, you know, get access to stuff like that, one, you know, because I took a degree, I still have some access through that. And secondly, I know a couple of ways around some of the paywalls, so I can get full documents. So again, you know, if any of you guys ever want anything, just request it. I know we're on opposite sides of the table, so to speak, but you know, at least I can.
That's cool.
Who is this again?
I'm currently called the Exile because it sounds ominous and mysterious.
The Exo?
No, it's to us, or foolish decisions, or whatever you want to call them.
Okay. Man, I've seen something that Adam did, man. That I'm not sure if he was referring to this, but he showed a ordnance survey of UK and some of the, I think, outer boundaries, and it was all triangle. And I got to thinking, that would be a good idea to do, instead of squares that are protruding and shit, to do triangles, because that wouldn't even work on a globe. Putting triangles together, like, or would it? I don't know.
You want anything from the Ordnance Survey, as long as it's not actual physical maps or pay data, which tends to be data with specific information on it. It's all pretty available. I can get that for you. I've done work with the Ordnance Survey in the past. Not on their maps or anything.
To me, man, that's the last step, man, is figuring this out, man. It's like, I don't know, to me on either model, man, if the sun's up for me at all and rising for Mitchell, and that puts Australia right about in damn range of the flight path, maybe a little bit longer. But I mean, the sun is up. If you look at timeanddate.com, the sun is covering a good bit more than half of the Earth at all times. Somewhere, just how does the globe account for that? It's never half. It's a good little portion more than half. To me, that works out perfect on a flat Earth model with like an oval type of throw of light from the sun.
Yeah, maybe. Speaking of paywalls, that's one thing that I wish Aaron Schwartz would have actually accomplished. The guy who co-founded Reddit, I think is what he did. He was attempting to download all of the articles behind a paywall, all the research. I can't remember the specific one, but it was like the biggest one. You'd probably know it if I said it. And he got busted. And they were threatening him with like 20 years in fucking prison. He was going to download them and release them all for free.
Well, it must be a pretty damn big deal for us to not have that information, right?
Yeah, they went way overboard.
I'll try and get a hold of them for you. Again, I have access to stuff.
But I wanted to say that one last thing.
Yeah, sorry, before we go off topic, Brandon, do you subscribe to...
Oh, your mic's a little low, Gleam.
Oh,
Can barely
can
hear
you
you.
hear me now? Can you hear me?
A little better.
Yeah, I'll sort it out after this, but do you subscribe to Lex Friedman? He's just done a talk. He does podcasts, basically. But he's just done one on exactly that. Exactly, should all scientific papers be free of charge? And it's interesting.
Oh, I'll have to check that out. I haven't seen that one.
They end up saying no. So they end up saying yes, definitely.
Yeah, if it doesn't have to do with technology, man, it absolutely. If it's natural science, then we should all have access to the data. And let me say this one other thing. Like, I bring up the star trails a lot at the equator, how they veer off to the right and the left. Even on Stellarium, I was very surprised to see that off at the horizon and coming and going, they deviate. It's so little bit. And I usually say that to try and get the Globers to say, well, it's perspective, because they're busted as soon as they try and say perspective. It's too high above the horizon, but it's barely any. But it's a little bit. It ain't much, but it is a fucking little bit. And to me, there'd have to be like 3 star trails. And but it was anyway. I was surprised to see that even Stellarium, facing east or facing west, showed a smidge of deviation, actual deviation. Call it what you want. Measurable deviation, meaning there's more than one star trail, in my opinion.
Yeah, maybe. Tough to prove anything with stuff like that, though, But we have seen what it looks like deviation. That one night we were measuring it with, I think it was Kosho and somebody else.
I was here.
Photos.
I was here for that. Kosho ended up building a model and then showing the concentric circles having the different deviations. Because I remember your demonstration that you did, where you drew a line and then you moved that line to a different part. And
yeah,
I don't think at that time we had any legitimate explanation. I think Kosha said it's concentric circles without much more explanation, but he ended up modeling it essentially on a globe, looking out at different objects and then having them move about, and the same phenomena occurred.
Yeah, but dude, that's why. I mean, when you go to Stellarium and you're trying to look at the stars and all this shit, dude, it makes you feel drunk. It's like, this is so unnatural. The way when you turn and look at different shit and zoom out, it's so fucking unnatural. It can't be what they're saying it is, even if it's close to what they're saying it is. They're still they're still off, you know, because it's just too slandered and twisted. It's like I said, it makes me feel drunk when I go looking around in Stellarium. It's just not natural.
Well,
so what was the deviation caused by Nkosho's model, Dio?
Stellarium. It was just the movement about things around that one reference, essentially. If you're viewing it from that middle object at the very center, and you're looking at a bunch of objects that are essentially rotating around that object, you get the concentric circles and you get that deviation that we had spent, we might have talked about it for like 20 minutes or something.
Why would you get deviation for objects that are that far away, though?
Because I think it's just our rotation. I'm presuming, of course, just our rotation about a particular axis gives us.
It will do ellipses. It is right.
Gives us different perspective. Or not different perspectives.
It don't matter, dude. You can measure the
different viewing angles.
And if you touch that camera, it screws up. You can measure the separation. No matter, even on Stellarium, it's measurable. They separate. End of subject. You can say whatever you want, but they motherfuckers separate, and you can measure it with a fucking ruler.
Yeah, we're not denying that, Brian.
You know, when you look at the 24-hour sun in the North Pole, and you're slightly off center of the North Pole, like in Iceland or something like that.
Believe me, you still don't think the moon is big on the horizon, bro. And I've been looking at that shit my whole life, man. What are you trying to tell me? No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
No. It doesn't touch the horizon, does it? The sun. On the 24-hour sun in North.
The giant moon on the horizon, like the Mortal Kombat moon.
Yeah, no, forget.
I'm always interested to hear
that.
what you have to say, brother.
Yeah, forget that. If you imagine the actual sun and now replicate it side by side, evenly spaced apart, let's say. Now, as it's going away from you, it would dip towards the horizon, and this is on both models. So it would dip towards the horizon. Now, if you had, let's say, all the sky full of suns, all equal spaced, it would close in. Yeah, all the suns would appear to close in at that point, and then as they come back around over to your head, it will appear to separate with perspective, standard perspective.
Well, hold on a minute. Why would perspective affect these? Hold on. Why would perspective affect these suns that are 93 million miles away?
Because it's the point that we're taking it from. So if on a flat Earth, that is the mechanism, because you obviously don't have a something rotating. But on a globe, you have that something rotating, as well as the sun dropping down, which means that you're going around. If you imagine on the solar disk, the heliocentric disk of the solar system, as a flat line going across a piece of paper, we're tilted at this 23-degree angle, and if you were dead on the top or just slightly off the top and you go round, you dip down from the apparent point of perspective to the sun. You would go down and then come back up on the globe, and that's how they get their elliptic bit.
But why would the distance between two stars change when you're rotating if the stars are that far away?
No, it's your point of view. It's from your point of view. They're not changing.
Right, that's
Perspective
That's a problem.
shouldn't have. Hold on. Perspective shouldn't affect them, though, right?
Shouldn't, but it does. It does. It's parallax. That is basis of parallax.
But there shouldn't be any parallax for stars that far away. Not just because of due to that rotation like that. That's too far away.
It's not. It's not if you're comparing such a wide distance. If you imagine from the North Star to, let's say, the equator stars that go round, that distance there is massive. That's on the globe model. That is so big that it can do that.
So
yeah, but
you hold on.
There should. I'm just trying to imagine why perspective would
I
affect
think it might be a little bigger on the
stars that are trillions of miles away. I would think, just in my head, that they're so far away, they're not affected by parallax like that. At least during the same night. So if they're directly in front of me and I see them, they should be the same distance apart when they're over my head or when they're behind me, shouldn't they?
Yeah, if they're coming in 90 degrees.
Absolutely.
They're coming in 90 degrees.
No.
They would have to be. Look at Orion during the summer, like when it's when you can barely see it on the horizon and shit. It's all distorted. That was also in my video.
Well, that's a different story on the horizon. That's a whole different thing.
Got to spend in space, like, remember.
Choose any two stars in the sky, get equatorial mounts, you will track them both just the same. So the equatorial mounts may be at certain degree apart from each other, but the stars are not moving.
Shouldn't we be able to have an
So
equatorial
there's
mount with
no
only one
parallax,
axis?
no
Right? If we're only
deviation,
spinning in one
no
direction.
separation, no bullshit.
Okay, well, that's what we're talking about. We measured it, and then BioDual just said that Kosho came up with a reason that we would see that parallax, essentially, that deviation.
Thanks.
Whatever you want to call it.
The bullshit.
Well, was
on a
wrong
ball
then.
model. So, Chikey.
That's not how he represented it, though. He was just representing objects a particular distance, being viewed by someone on an object that was rotating at the center of all of those objects. It's just showing the relationship between your viewing angle and concentric circles being made about you.
Well, okay, so he wasn't doing the ball model then. He was just doing
my point of view.
No,
right?
it was a ball model. It was viewed from a spherical ball at the center, and there were objects away from it.
How far away were the objects?
He put them in GIF form. I'm not sure what the scale was. He was just showing the demonstration of objects around a rotating object that you're on, and showing that they form concentric circles, but that they also deviate in an apparent distance from each other. It just looks like they're closer when they're not actually.
Yeah, that's what we need a little bit more substantiation for, because in my opinion, as Chikey said, sounds like it's not just my opinion, there shouldn't be any deviation. Not on a globe. It shouldn't be affected
I'll have
by
to tag him. He put it in GIF form, but this was like a month and a half ago. I'll see if I can find that actual GIF, and then maybe Kosho can expand more.
Okay. So, Chikey,
why would you
given
put it in
that your
latitude?
position that you just said, how do you explain this deviation that we see in this footage?
Lens distortion.
Okay, so you're just going to go with lens distortion?
How about on Stellarium?
Only.
I got a 1 minute video.
Come on, Stellarium is all twisted, right?
Yeah, but not when you're sitting still. If you're sitting still looking west or looking east, look at my video. It's only 1 minute long. Go to Flat Earth Test and look at the 1 minute long video, and you'll see the stars starting off on the edge of the screen. And I zoomed in a little bit. I should have zoomed out because it shows them a little bit more deviating. It's slight, but it happens even on Stellarium.
Yeah, but who cares what happens in Stellarium, Brian? It's a fucking model they made.
Well, I mean that supports our time lapses. I mean, their time lapses show it too. At first, they tried to say it was like fisheye lenses or wide angle, but it's been done other than that. But when you look at a patch in the sky, like underneath or a certain direction, you don't see it. You don't see it. It's only when you're looking like you know, at least mostly east or mostly south. If you're looking north, you just see a trail. If you look south, you know, toward the Milky Way, you see the stars all seeming to be together. But look at them by the horizon. That's why they don't show, when they show you them wildlife, nature films and shit. It's my theory anyway. They never show the stars. They show them all moving as one, and it's convincing. They don't show them at the horizon, and they don't show time lapses either. Yeah.
Okay. Nature documentaries, huh?
It would certainly, well, my wife watches them. It would certainly explain perfectly the multiple, because like if there is actual deviation, then there's 3 rotations, however that may work, but or 2 at least. But that would give a better explanation for the star trails, even though they make it sound like it's a small little point in Antarctica that shit's rotating around. That's according to Mitchell and according to Aussie Jesus, it's a big ass patch with no stars in it. And they say that the God, what is it? The thing that points to it, it rotates, it tracks across the whole entire sky. It's something right there by. Yeah, it rotates, it covers the whole sky from what they say. Not the,
Is it
not
possible
the blank
there? So let's say there are 2 points of rotation. Is it possible over a flat plane that there's 2 polarises? There's a rotation that we call the North Pole, and there's a rotation that we call the South Pole. Or is that crazy? That wouldn't work.
It'd have to be the same in all directions.
Yeah, I mean it's
right.
It's boggling, but there would have to be some spots on Earth where it didn't act right. And what gave me that idea was Karen from SAMU, the Sun and Moon Family United. She got her channel shut down. It's unfortunate, man. She's a real nice lady, but she describes the stars coming over her house and like deviating off and going toward the back of her house as soon as they get like overhead. And I'm like, man, that would sure make sense if there were multiple star trails. You know, there'd have to be spots that didn't cooperate, which we could place out in the oceans, obviously, but we'd have to have at least one spot like that on a continent. So I haven't found it, but that's as close as I came is hearing her. She talks about it all the time, how the stars come in and then veer off. She says the moon does the same thing, comes in toward her house, toward the front, and then takes off the other, like semi opposite, not opposite direction, but it takes off there in her backyard. And she's in Northern Europe, not super Northern Europe, but I think she's like in I don't know. Anybody help me with that? She's more north than UK. What's the central latitude of the United Kingdom? Ain't that kind of north?
Birmingham, but you got Scotland up top, and then you got Wales, you got Ireland.
You'd have like Norway and Sweden, Finland. They'd be more north than England. Iceland would be. Greenland would be, but I think Greenland's more. I think Greenland's North America. So if you're saying Europe, I don't think Greenland counts.
Oh, okay. Did we buy Greenland? The U.S. buy Greenland?
That's a good question. I don't think I've ever heard anyone ask that.
I think that was a joke. It was like an internet meme.
I thought Trump was actually serious about that. I thought that was a good idea.
It might be Canadian owned. It might be. I'm not at all sure, but Canada might own it.
Yeah, Greenland, they got it like pretty big on the Mercator map. But even besides that, it's a big freaking place. And 2 things, okay? They like everybody's heard before they should have called Iceland Greenland and Greenland Iceland, because Greenland's way further north. but it is big, even if it's not as big as South America. I think that could be a clue. Greenland, it's not very populated, but one other thing about it is that, like, if the globe, if they were gonna make a flat plane, a globe, then they would have to make the northern and the southern hemisphere the same size. They'd have to shrink the south. I mean, they'd have to shrink the north to try and match. Or what would they have to do? Okay, they need the south. They need their southern hemisphere to be smaller. So that means they'd need their northern hemisphere to be bigger, right?
You could do whatever you want with a map. You could do whatever you want when it's on a 2D projection. You can make the equator all fucked up and then everything else fairly accurate. You can make the poles all fucked up and the equator fairly accurate. You could do whatever you want so long as you use the correct scaling and symbology within the map. You can do whatever you want.
Yeah, the reason why on the globe projection they make the south bigger is because they say it's pear-shaped, paroid.
Yeah, that's not why at all. It'll look like the south is most of the land. When we talk about southern hemisphere, most of the land is closer to the equator, so that's why we're going to get fucked up when people compare like America to Africa. That entire argument that's why that'll happen, because Africa is right there at the equator. America is away from the equator, so it's easy to show the obvious distortion between the two.
Think about this.
I got a great question. Why is the
they'd have to make they'd have to make the south bigger and the north smaller to make a match to be able to get it, believable down to 60 south parallel or 70. Okay, so the northern hemisphere could be bigger than they're saying. Greenland could be a lot bigger than that would make more sense. That would explain a few things. But look, when they talk about the bulge at the equator, one reason I could think of that would be like because they say the southern hemisphere, it's pear-shaped because it's bigger around. So when they did surveys, they obviously would have met at the equator from the north and the south. So if they make the equator bigger, like a bulge, 20-mile bulge, then that would help explain why, the pear shape to begin with. And then they could just kind of deviate it out, flare it out toward the oceans and shit. I'm having a hard time saying this, but go ahead, Jeremy. Sorry.
I don't get why it would even be pear-shaped. I was going to say something about the temperature difference in the north and south, but I don't get why the fuck it would even be, pear-shaped. Why would it get bigger at the bottom? That doesn't even make sense. Why wouldn't it get bigger equally on both hemispheres or whatever? Or it'd be evenly shaped. It's spinning at an axis, supposedly.
And if you look in the general, I've just tagged you in something there that goes through what I was on about.
Does bigger at the bottom make sense to anyone else?
No, it's not. It's at the equator is where the bulge is.
If it's a flat Earth, it would have to be bigger. But if they, like I said, if they shrunk the north, they would have to shrink the north, and they would, they would have to enlarge. Yeah, they would have to enlarge the south and shrink the north. So if the north is bigger, then that would, that could explain the matching of like 10, 20, 30 degrees latitude. It's taking a bigger circuit.
So Neil,
it's only off by a little bit south. It is off, in my opinion, the research I did, but we haven't proven it yet. But
So Neil deGrasse gave a terrible analogy. In other words, when he said it pear-shaped, that was a terrible thing to.
No, because it's not a literal pair. It's not a literal pair in which
literal pair.
It's,
He said it's pear-shaped.
Go ahead.
And then later on said hamburger. It's like a hamburger shape.
Hold on, correct.
Fantastic. So when he says pair, it's not to say that it's a pair where the northern hemisphere is thin and the southern hemisphere is fat. It's saying it's like a pair in which there's a bulge to make it not a perfect sphere. There is a bulge at the equator, so it's kin to saying pair, but that's all.
I don't think so. That I don't know. You think that's a good? You think a pair was a good analogy to use?
I think it's fine, but if you take it literal, then that's your problem. But it's not to be taken
don't
literal.
matter.
It's just to
When someone says Earth is
it's not a perfect sphere.
There's no pairs.
Someone says Earth is pear-shaped, and this guy's supposed to be a science. My bad. Go ahead.
Yeah. So look, if the south is a little bit smaller than what they're saying, then that means the sun would be going faster, right? Or it'd have to be bigger. But if it was just off a little bit, just crunch the oceans down or expand the oceans. I get mixed up when I talk about it, which is why I was trying to get a little help. Like
So
Chris
by-
is kind of put me back on path, but all they got to do is extend is just change the distances, and who's checking that shit? South America. I think Africa would probably be the best place to, if anybody wanted to get serious into doing this and is listening, check into Africa, because that would cover the most ground, and that would probably be the flattest area to get more accurate distances. But until we do Jeremy's idea, with the exact zeniths and measure them, there's going to be no proof of either model 100%.
Jeremy,
I don't even know.
Which side is the bottom?
That's why I'm saying here. I don't think pear would be exactly a good shape to use as an analogy for Earth. I mean, if I was trying to communicate to someone what shape the Earth was, and I was believer in a heliocentric model, I wouldn't tell someone it was pear shaped, because then that leads people to believe that
I got a 1960s Army video, like it's one of them old Disney Periscope type of films, but it's from the Army, and they also say that the Earth is pear-shaped. Like the first satellites and the first GPS, like the 1960s and early 70s, and they also say, the Army, with their satellite, with their mapping, say the Earth is pear-shaped. It's also
That's
one of my
interesting.
videos. I need to, yeah, it is.
That's
when
really
I heard it was
interesting,
pear-shaped, I was like, what? From the Army?
Because a pear is kind of like a egg shaped, even, right? Let me say a couple things. Oh, go ahead, Jeremy.
No, I was just gonna say pear shape makes sense if the Earth is flat and you need to fucking have more land to be at the bottom. You know what I mean? Then
Right.
you would say, yeah, it's pear shaped. There's more land at the bottom. Or in the south.
I know that the almanac, the Australian almanac has New Zealand to like Sydney, like almost 600 miles longer than Google Maps has it, and that was like the shipping channel fucking almanac. That's a pretty big discrepancy in one little area. I don't know. It'd have to be.
Say that again, Brian.
Stand out everywhere. Right?
Say that again. What's the discrepancy?
It's like between 500 and 600 miles, just between the coast of Australia and New Zealand, right? Ain't that New Zealand right there off the coast of Australia? Yeah. And that's not that's a pretty significant span there. There had to be a reason for that big of a discrepancy. That was like in the shipping almanac. And like I said, they'd have to fan it out a little bit. They could get away with a lot of it in the ocean. I'm just trying to think on terms. I'm always trying to think on practical terms, because I don't like unanswered questions. And I mean, we'll never be able to answer them all, but I like to come up with explanations that satisfy myself. And I like to talk about these things, man. This is progress, if you ask me.
I get you. Let me read this. Earth is life, $5. Which direction from South Africa and Australia would the southern celestial pole be on a flat Earth? South. Thanks, Earth is life. Appreciate that. And then Gleam, you posted something from photographing space. I'm sharing it on my screen. If nobody saw it in the chat.
It was just showing that obviously when you get at the equator, the stars bend out, and that's all due to perspective. That's all I was on about.
This is really interesting to me, though, because it makes sense on the merry-go-round. It makes sense if it local, but it doesn't make sense if these things are trillion miles away. There's no reason that there should be this parallax.
We're talking about the diverging star trails.
Yeah.
It's more the best way I can describe it is if you're taking your camera and you're falling backwards, but the Earth is still rotating, I think that's the best way I can get you to explain it. If you're falling backwards, but the Earth is still rotating while you're floating off of Earth, that's the only way I can say it, because that is actually is what is happening. Let's say 15 degrees per hour. That is what's happening. You're not just tilting back, or you're not just rotating in one direction. You're actually moving in two.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or
why would that cause them all to be visually closer? Listen to the example they give here. It says, but why?
Bending
Think
space
about a
light.
wheel.
Come on.
Or for simplicity's sake, a merry-go-round. The kids sitting on the inside near the center are moving much slower than the kids sitting near the perimeter. The kids near the center and the perimeter perceptibly move different distances in the same time period, even in that of a long photograph exposure.
That's why I use equatorial, just to cut out that argument. I used what would be equal to like 10 degrees north and 10 degrees south, or 30 degrees north, 30 degrees south. They should mirror.
Yeah, but the point is, there shouldn't be parallax with distant stars like this. This doesn't make any sense to me on a globe.
Yeah. You know what makes sense to me is they've been playing guessing games on how the sky works this whole time, and they're just making shit up as they go along.
That makes sense. Yeah, I agree with that.
Here's one, Brandon. Have you ever been in one of them gravity wheels at the fun fair, where you all get in a wheel, you all strap in, and you all get the spin of the force forces you all. Yeah, the gravitron. Yeah, that's what they call it. Yeah. Now imagine that gravitron doesn't spin just around, and you know the gravitron actually goes up, doesn't it? And you all tilt, and you all go at a tilted angle. Yeah. So if you imagine that there's lights all above the actual barrel, the open roof, if you imagine the lights above, as you're going round, although those lights are still and they're all evenly spaced, let's say, because you're going round at a certain thing, your perspective will make the far ones appear smaller, as if they're closer together, and the nearer ones further apart. That is literally all it is.
You're talking about a close and local surface.
Yeah, but that's
being
exactly
affected by
how they'll describe.
perspective.
Yep, that's exactly how it's described on the globe as well.
So they're double talking then. They're double speaking.
That's it there. It says direction matters. But don't listen to Chike. Chike said he was talking bullshit.
Strawmanning the model.
Wait a minute, Chikey. You told me earlier there shouldn't be any difference.
None.
So, Chike, why did they separate?
There should be no
the equator?
All stars separate at a fixed separation. They never get closer or farther away.
You sure?
That's not what this article says right here.
No, it's talking about the speed they move in the sky.
That's not. It's talking about. No, it's talking about the rule of 500, Chike. Do you know about the rule of 500?
The rule of 500. What is it? How long of exposure you can do for a star before it leaves trails in your camera?
Okay, so you see the ones down on the bottom of the picture.
Those on the
Why are the ones at the bottom of the picture separating, Chike?
It's not. It's how fast they're moving in the sky. Nothing to do with the separation from each other.
I can see that they're separating, Chike. What are you going to do about it?
They're clearly diverging. I mean,
exactly. Exactly. People just deny what they see with their eyes.
I posted that video, man. Chikey, I just posted that video. It's only like 51 seconds in Flat Earth Test, man. Check it out when you get a second. Y'all quit doubting your own damn eyes.
But I will say, Brandon.
Why would there be diversion? Why would we have this local, close and local perspective phenomena with stars trillions of miles away, guys?
It's the effect of the optical equipment. It's the equipment.
It's the equipment.
Yep. And perspective.
So we wouldn't see this with our eyes.
Well, it's more how far you are away from the central rotational point as well.
What matter would that
you
make
would
when
see
there's
this
thousands?
with your eyes. You would see this with your eyes. You would see that diverging with your eyes.
Well, we shouldn't see divergence with our eyes on a globe.
No, you would see
No.
divergence. Yeah,
I don't think so.
You'd see you'd see them follow the same paths. It wouldn't change. That wouldn't. As soon as you look at it
But
by
they
eye,
wouldn't
that
get
wouldn't all
closer
of a
together,
sudden
brother.
get to circles.
That would be
They wouldn't get
perspective.
closer together, though.
That's a no-no.
Yeah, it is perspective. Yes, I agree.
Yeah, but it is perspective, which shouldn't happen on a globe with stars.
Well, either
That's
way,
the
let
whole
the
point
globe
of
earthers
them.
fight that
That's
one
the-
out.
That's what their
'cause-
whole model of Polaris is based on. Liam?
But if you read that whole article, if you pull up the actual article, it starts from the start, and I just quoted one bit, which is direction matters. And to me, that is all I was explaining. That if you're on a maypole, and you were at a particular point in the maypole, inside while everyone's going around, you'll
Okay.
see a certain person do the parallax, and that is a local effect, yes, but that would happen
Yeah.
regardless on a
You
long
keep giving me
scale as well.
examples that are local perspective effects, Gleam, and then saying, yes, this would happen on a globe.
Yeah, well, that's how
you
they
fucking with
explain
me?
it on the
Are
globe.
you fucking
No,
with me?
that's how they explain it on the globe, and I've backed it up with a citation. Now, I'll pass the mic over to Chike, yeah, and he can back that up and say that that's a load of shite. That photographingspace.com is a load of shite, and they're not actually separating. Yeah.
Like I said, pick any two stars in the sky. You can trick them both with an equatorial mount. The angle between them will not change. If the angle does not change in the equatorial mount, if you didn't measure any change in the angle, there is no change in the angle.
In what
Okay,
angle, Chuck?
so
Separation between the stars.
How do you explain this picture then?
I'm not talking about two
I need
stars
to
next to each
explain
other.
pictures that I don't know anything about.
I'm talking
Yeah,
about
you
a
do.
star on one side.
You know
of the,
facts and stuff.
one,
No, I
I'm talking
posted
about a
the-
star on one side of the star trail. I mean, the sun path.
I posted.
And pick a star on either side of the sun path, and they
I
deviate
posted-
ever so slightly.
I posted a video of Wolfie 6020, and he shows you a perfect circular path of the stars. They don't
If
overlap.
it's got the
They
Milky
don't
Way in
get-
it, it's
No,
not a good example.
No, he was
Well,
pointing
if you
at
say
at the South Pole.
If you say it slow like that and with a halting cadence, that makes it a much more
Let me tell you one. Back in the day, Antonio Subarats pulled up a star trail, and it definitely had deviation between the stars. Now, it turns out it was the actual lens, because that is the effect that a lens has.
Well,
It
that
will
I would believe.
squash. Yes, that's what I'm trying. That is not that is an effect of a wide angle lens of what they're doing. But it is, you can zoom in and you'll be able to see separation there, Chike.
Tell me.
So there is actual visual separation. Hold on, let me clarify. Gleam, you're saying that there is actual physical separation.
No, it's apparent. As it says in that document there, it says apparently in speech marks. Apparently we see them stretching, but they don't in reality.
Would
And
I
that's
see it
from
with
Globe
a...
Earth site. That's not from, that is just randomly searched. And seriously.
Would I see it with a... What are those lenses that are non-fisheye lens? I forgot the name of them.
Not rectilinear.
Flat lenses. Yeah, rectilinear lens. Would I see this
Rectilinear,
separation with a
supposedly.
rectilinear lens?
A rectilinear lens is not a flat lens. A rectilinear lens is a curved lens with minimal distortion. Basically, has had all the distortion removed away from it, or the lens has been designed as such. But it is not flat. It is. You will always get distortion on a rectilinear lens, albeit it is a fraction.
Down at the edges, man. I showed the Stellarium. Hold on, Glenn.
But it's the same.
Brian, shut the fuck up for a minute. Hold on.
But it's
So,
the same.
I-
It's the same. You
I
will
wouldn't-
get
I
a
wouldn't-
lens effect.
Okay, so I would get a lens effect, but any separation I see, you said I'd see it with my eyes, right?
Yeah, this is a combination of you falling backwards and left and right, as if you're going around a circle, around a globe, as well as the stars being still. Yeah, as well as the equipment that you're taking it with, using that perspective from your particular, because you could be right underneath Polaris, yeah, and then they should be absolutely perfectly circular. Any degree south, then they're going to go off on a wobble, yeah, and that's.
This is. Sorry.
That's what you're saying. Yes, that is a local effect. That would seem like a local effect. I'm saying yes, that is a local effect. That's your position on this spinning object, falling back and left a little bit.
Yeah, we know it's globe spective.
That's what it sounds like.
It's glimpspective.
Yeah, but let Chike, because Chike thinks that I'm talking Chike. Anyway, I'm lying.
I need not say anything more. You can track any star with an equatorial mount that does a perfect circle in the sky. Not an oval, not anything else, just a circle. Right? It's rotating around a single axis. The angle just doesn't change. So there is no change in angles.
I select one star that debunks you, called the Sun.
Well, the Sun moves a bit because, we know.
The Sun moves a bit, Chike. Are you sure you know your own model?
Yeah, because we're in a tilt with respect to the Sun and moving around it pretty close.
Pretty close, 93 million miles.
Round the corner, mate.
It's enough.
Globe spective. Jeremy nailed it. Yeah.
How many degrees is it per day?
360.
0.3. Is that right, Chike?
Anyway, go ahead, Brian.
I don't know. I haven't done the math.
I have. It's 0.3. Slightly less.
Listen, in my video, the stars are coming toward you. Okay, when you're looking from east to west, or west to east, they're coming towards you, and they're leaving the screen from way out in the distance to above your head. Then when you look east to west to see them set, they're still spreading. So they're spreading from the moment they come up. It's still not much, but I'm not talking about lens distortion, and I'm talking about them separating in one direction the whole entire way from the time they are first visible to look at, check out my 51-second damn video. It's the stars coming toward us over our head that are barely separating over our head. They're leaving the screen, and then as they keep going west, they continue to separate. I'm not talking about lens distortion. This is.
Huh. Well, it's just globe spective. So.
Well, it's 0.26 degrees. Pretty close.
Look at that. That is not bad, Chike. Come on. I rounded up. I even rounded up.
So we can expect to see the Sun move, right? At least by half. Because we can see it half a day.
Well, that just debunks your statement, Chike, so I'll just leave you alone to doing that, yeah? Okay?
No, it doesn't. But it doesn't apply to the stars. We don't orbit around the stars.
Okay, do you want to have a word with Pete a minute? And we'll get on with something else.
Definitely not.
But Pete knows that they are reflections.
Of what?
Of other stars.
No, in all honesty.
They are reflection of the North Star. And the Tree of Life or something.
So you have been speaking to Pete.
I have no reason to believe that. I have no reason to believe that Armstrong and Aldrin and Collins weren't up there in high altitude platforms or high altitude planes, some shit, you know. And for Collins to say that, he didn't see any stars, that will always be a big problem for the globe. The highest I've seen stars is in Dwayne or not Dwayne Kellum, but that one guy. Sorry, I forgot your name. But he showed him at about 60,000 feet. That's how he was able to get that nighttime balloon. So, you know, they a good chance they're I don't know, fucking aberrations. They disappear when you get up there, according to their own priest, their astronaut, who didn't even make it to the moon. Collins never left the craft, so he kept orbiting the moon, and he didn't remember seeing any. That's his exact comment. I don't remember seeing any. And the way they describe it, it's some great illumination. It's awesome to see the heavens, but then it's a black void at the same time. They don't get their story too straight about the stars, so to me, they'll probably forever be a mystery.
Well, if I went to space, I was one of the first men on the moon. I'm not going to be looking at the stars, right? Who's got time to notice that shit? Right.
We're there to look at the stars.
Of course.
No, we must be in a jar. I know some evidence that says so.
Hey, but if you challenge the Globers to show you a picture of the stars from the ISS, they can show you a photo from 2014. There is one.
Just one, huh?
Yeah, what?
Do you have a photo of the stars from the ISS? PNS?
Oh, hold on a second. Let me see how long it takes me to find one. I bet it won't take long.
He'll dig up the one.
I mean, you guys had Skylab out there. You should have had shit even before the ISS. Pictures of stars and shit from out there, right?
With a mirror too. But Don Patet did star trails that show that these celestial poles are optical, not physical locations, because he shows a completely different versions of these points of rotation.
Don Pettit is my favorite astronaut.
Yeah, he fucks it up and doesn't even realize it. He thinks he nailed it.
Hilarious. Don Pettit is pretty.
Oh,
cool.
that took a long time. Oh, hold on.
Yeah,
That
it's
really
like
took
a
long time.
like Don is the guy where when he like was trying out for the acting job, they were all like, "Oh man, he just can't do it," and then they just like ended up bringing him in just probably because he's in the family eventually. So they're like, "All right, we'll just let him do it."
Who done that? Paid NASA shield. Jim will paint it.
You can
What about
show
the
that
stars?
dude to like people who don't really follow this debate. Be like, just show that guy to people and be like, is this dude an astronaut or is he some sort of internet gag? And they'll be like, oh, it's an internet gag. That guy, there's no way that guy is an astronaut. That's like a joke. That's like a Mr. Bean, like thing going on there.
You're saying if you showed it to people, I've never tried doing that. But you're saying if you showed it to people and didn't tell them he's a real NASA astronaut, ask them what they actually think.
Yeah, like, what do you think of this dude? Because I've done it before, like presenting flat Earth. I'm like, well, look at this guy, right? They go, that's not real. That's a flat earther pretending to be stupid, making a bunch of claims. That's that guy. There's no way that's legit. I go, matter of fact, he's the spokesman of all the astronauts.
How do you just look at somebody and tell if they're an astronaut or not?
Oh, just listen to him talk, dude. Like, he did like the Angry Bird like video, like for the video Angry Birds in Space. Just go check it. Talk about drinking his pee and poop. Chugga 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 chug, right? He goes,
Yeah.
what does goes alongs? Like, you just listen to the guy talk. You're like, he's
Yeah,
very-
what happens if we get a hole? What happens if we get a hole in the station? I don't know. There's probably some procedure.
There's a leak. You just got a leak. Well, don't you think a leak would be a big deal? Nah, there's something. I can't think of what to do, but something.
Hey man, if anybody from NASA is listening, they got to keep eye on us from time to time to get all their mistakes right. Since they won't pay us, they won't pay Jeremy to come work for them, So they've already just listened to us and get the fucking shit for free. So if y'all are listening, anybody with influence, show us some of the fucking badass platforms and shit they have up there. Y'all do have up there. Nobody's gonna believe us if we try and show it anyway.
Hey, real quick.
At least show us what the fuck is really going on up there.
Brian, can you repeat those words but more concisely? And if I could summarize for you, can you please say NASA is listening in on this channel to get smart ideas from flat earthers?
Yeah.
Say that.
No, have you ever heard Jeremy?
Well, they've been
comment
doing that
like,
from the beginning, yeah.
Have you ever heard
you
Jeremy
know,
make
say
a
it
comment?
too. I just want sound bites. That's all.
Well, they change. NASA changes what they do. Yeah, I think Brian was just saying that with Jeranism. Like Jeranism directly has changed NASA's course multiple times.
Yeah, we catch all the
PNS
mistakes,
did
man.
come up
Jeremy
with
was talking about
a photo of stars from the ISS. This one's from 2015. Ganja.
I got
And
pages of stars.
is pretty fantastical, I gotta say. What's this down here? I mean, it's not bad work.
Yeah.
I've seen some college kids who could do better these days, but for 2015, it's not too bad.
Look at that
It could be
moonshine.
lightning storm or something.
Look at all those people on moonshine.
Is this supposed to be moonshine?
What else could
That
it be?
looks like-
A torch?
Lightning.
I was trying to figure it out. What the fuck is that?
No way.
Everybody
Across that
familiar
hole.
with night vision goggles, man? Is everybody familiar with the night vision goggles and seeing like crazy shit moving around and random? I mean, nothing made sense to me until I heard about flat Earth. And now, there's a fucking bunch of balloons up there, and they fucking, if you ever look through night vision goggles at the night sky through expensive ones, you see some crazy shit going on up there. Little dots moving around. It looks like almost like microbial life, just for a lack of a better explanation.
About
But
satellite.
now that I
Brandon, you
know
got
that
the height.
balloons all
Hold
up
on a
there,
second.
and
Hold
they've
on,
been up
Brandon, you
there,
got the
dude.
height
I
in
had
that
night
picture?
vision goggles back when I was like about 20 years
Brandon,
ago.
are they
dude.
saying that's a real photo? Is that
Yeah.
what they're claiming? Or are they saying it's touched up? Oh, right, there it is. Astronaut photograph was acquired August 9th, 2015. Wow. That is
Hey,
It's supposed to be real.
The
Oh yeah,
bright
this is
center
CGI
of
for
the
sure.
image is caused
This
by
is
a
supposed to be
lightning strike.
lightning. This is supposed to be a
the Indian-
lightning strike.
Oh my gosh, really?
Brandon, so the
Yeah.
Indian, so the
That's supposed
Indian,
to be lightning?
so the Indian Space Agency was 100 miles higher than that.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
Yep.
No.
Hey, let me ask
Right.
Miles just a question.
And I like how
Can I have a word with?
there's basically
Brandon, can I
three
have a word?
layers. There's 3 layers in this. You have the Earth layer, there's the star layer of CGI, and then whatever the satellite arm thing up at the top. That's definitely just pasted right in there.
Right.
Brandon, can I ask you a question, please?
Oh, hey Phil. Sure. What's up, man?
Okay, could you tell me why one of your mods keeps blocking me on YouTube?
I don't.
Because
know.
you're
Am I not welcome?
No. You're welcome. I think they get a little
Why-
trigger
why,
happy.
why do those mods keep blocking me on YouTube?
I don't know. I'm not sure who keeps blocking you.
Could we just ask them not to?
Guys, please don't block Pete. I mean, Phil. Sorry.
Pretty
Or
please
Pete.
with a cherry on top. With a cherry on top,
don't
guys.
fuck-
Yeah, I mean it's not that
Hey, but
hard.
check
You
this
know?
out, y'all.
It's
Check
it's
this
just
out.
good.
Let me
It's
get
just
this out
good
real quick.
manners.
Well, Phil, were you
Good
doing
manners.
anything that would be? Were you doing anything that would have been worthy of a block?
Really? Do I
Can't be
normally do
nothing
that?
worse than I do, man. Can't be nothing worse than I do. Don't block Phil.
I've
you.
seen you go pretty heavy in the chats at times. Yeah.
I've never ever sworn at anybody or given them any derogatory names. Okay, I don't do that.
Phil's a gentleman. I don't know about a scholar, but he's a gentleman.
Thank you.
Now, you might want to stick around and listen to this real quick, Phil. You might want to
Okay.
listen to
By
this.
the way,
So I was talking
if you want to know something
Uh-huh.
about that photo,
Tell him, Brian.
if you want to know a little bit more about that photo from ISRO, the clouds in order to actually see the satellites, that's zoomed in. So obviously the clouds are going to look like they're closer.
Oh boy.
Right? The whole point is
He's
to be
telling
able
you
to
it's zoomed in.
The whole point is to be able to see the satellites. Now, the other thing about it is that
It's not
because
zoomed in.
of-
Hold on.
because of
Don't
the-
kish
Hold on.
gallop. Don't
Hold
kish
on.
gallop.
Because
It's
of the-
not zoomed in.
We're going to tell you why
Because
it's
not
not
zoomed in.
zoomed in. Relax, Phil.
Okay.
The little
Phil, I don't
thingy
think
on
it's
the
zoomed
side.
in.
Because it is.
I don't
Tell
think
about
so
the little
because
thingy
you,
on the
know
side, Brandon.
that you don't know.
the
okay?
ejector is in the frame and it's
Why
in
don't
focus.
why don't you start looking? Why don't you look from the beginning of the clip
Uh-huh.
where the
I've
right
watched the
sat,
whole thing.
where the right sat.
What I'm
Phil, in
concerned
the
with,
picture-
Phil.
It's only a few. It's less than 2 minutes. Just watch the
Yeah,
whole
I've
thing.
watched the whole thing like 100 times, Phil. I understand that.
Phil, in
The
the
part of
picture-
it that I'm interested
Yeah,
in
and
is
you
when
notice what happens
when the satellites are thrown out of the thing and they fall into the clouds. That's the part that interests
They
me.
don't fall into the clouds. Okay.
Phil,
That's-
They
the
do.
picture's not zoomed in. Hold on.
That's
Can
the
we address the
perception.
picture
Yes,
being
yes,
zoomed
it
in
is
thing?
zoomed
Because he
in.
still thinks it's zoomed in.
That's
It's
how
not zoomed in.
that's why you can see the clouds really close.
Tell him about the thing again. He didn't even listen to you. He talked all over you last time. Tell him again.
Phil, it's not zoomed in. You can see the ejector on the side. It's in focus.
Even Rumpus agreed. With that. That's simple angular.
Learn a bit about photography, okay?
No, you need
Well,
to learn
I will.
about
So
photography.
when
That's
you
just
hold
about-
on, guys,
you can't focus in on
when
the
you
act.
zoom in, when you zoom in, and there's something that's right there close to you, is it going to remain in focus?
You won't even see it, much less be in focus, unless it's
It's just
dead
a
away.
wide angle lens. That's all it is.
You'll be cropping in. Yeah,
Of course, it's a wide angle lens.
Yeah.
Have a look at the thing. Have a look at the clip right from the beginning, okay?
Wide angle.
I
All
have.
right,
Well,
and
why do you
now-
want me to
thank
watch
you.
it from the
Anyway,
beginning? I
that's
want
all
to
I
know
wanted to
why the satellites are dropped into the clouds. Why we see them go under the clouds,
They're not
and why?
dropping in the clouds.
Why did the clouds?
This is the. It's because
Go
the
ahead.
pixels. It's because the pixels blend in with the clouds, so it looks like they fall into the clouds. Okay?
No,
Professor
They don't-
no,
they're
I watched
not.
it 100 times. That's not what it looks like. And here, what's more is
I'm telling you
why
that's
do the
what's happening.
clouds look so much closer in that
Why
video
do you
than they
think
do in the
need to
Mage
drop it?
2?
How do you think it's possible for them to drop a satellite directly towards the ground? The thing is traveling at about 18,000 miles per hour. How do you think it's supposed to drop it?
Well, I don't
straight
think it's
towards the
traveling
ground?
that fast. And I don't think. Hold on, Brian.
It's not
Brian, hold on.
anything about what you think.
I
It
don't
doesn't
think
matter
it's
what you
traveling
think.
that fast, and I don't think it's that high. Obviously,
It doesn't matter what you think.
no. It only matters what I see.
It only matters what's fact.
Well,
So
you
what
don't
are
know
you
what's fact, do you?
Anyway,
Phil, so
I'm
what's your main claim? You're saying that the pixels just blend in? Like, what are you actually saying?
Yes, they do. Yeah, exactly. You
Yeah.
got it.
Can I give a resolution?
Okay. Bye bye.
Can I give a resolution? Sorry.
You leaving?
Yeah. Can I give him a
It was
resolution
so-
if he's still listening? Wait there.
He wasn't going to be able to back that up. It seems like so. He just
Yeah,
left.
it's easy for him to calculate. It will take him 5-10 minutes as a professor, but it's easy to calculate. Let's say the diffraction limit of the camera lens is roughly about 0.003, and then time from release down to when you lose them, and the amount of seconds it takes to do 9.8 meters per second squared on that calculation, and he'll be able to calculate the distance of how far it goes supposed to be before it goes out of the camera lens's actual optical limit.
But Gleam,
That's all it is.
Why
It's
are the
sun.
satellites falling at 9.8 meters per second?
It looks to me like they're dropping stuff from high altitude and just filming a bunch of things, and later they probably edit it
That's
all
cool.
together.
No,
And they
that's
basically just didn't edit out all the way to the end of this one, so that it actually caught it going into the clouds. Like, it seems like whether they release these on purpose or not is
just
another
go ahead and
question.
release.
But it seems
Just go
like
ahead
it's
and release
just
something like that.
they're
Yeah.
filming
That'd be a good
it so
idea.
they can cut it up, and then they just didn't edit out the end of it here. So
Right,
it
they
shows
just
they're
left all the
Yeah,
stuff in
it's
there.
called
Yeah.
humans. They make mistakes. So they made a mistake and they put out something that they probably didn't think anyone would ever notice, and two, may not have seen noticed themselves.
Care. Hold on, if I got Phil in trouble,
That's
the
possible
other day,
too.
If I got Phil in trouble, hold on. If I got Phil in trouble the other day calling him a whistleblower, I genuinely apologize, Phil. If I got you in trouble for saying you were blowing the whistles, giving us that clip, I genuinely fucking apologize if that's the case. I don't think Phil cares of what you say, man.
I think he left the chat a little while ago, but he might.
Well, think about it, though, man. If you were one of the elite, high up, okay, there's got to be a handful of them in every country and shit like that, okay? And what would you watch? Would you watch Neil deGrasse and shit if you knew
Brian, what
that
the
there was a
fuck?
ceiling up there?
Why are you
Never
changing the
mind,
subject, man? What the fuck?
I wasn't. I was going to talk about the head official, but go ahead. My bad.
No, it's okay.
I want to know why they don't why they drop so quickly and why they don't seem to like be conserving momentum. Right? I mean, I would just expect them to kind of gently sort of move away.
If they were so close to the clouds, wouldn't the clouds be moving a hell of a lot faster?
It literally looks like they're up at maybe 80 to 90,000 feet and just throwing stuff out of an airplane and filming it.
So
I don't even
how
think they're that
fast do you
high,
think
to
they'd
be
have
honest
drop
with you.
in order to get all the
Not
way
even that
down
high?
to the clouds?
No,
Could
I
be
think
like
they're
60.
plane high. We
Well,
did some comparisons the other day to pictures of clouds from planes. I'm thinking they're maybe 30, like a jetliner height.
Wow. Well, that would actually
Maybe.
make more sense because the clouds wouldn't be that high. But I imagine that they do different heights.
I can't believe he came in here. I
cloud
can't believe he
don't move
came
at
in here
all.
and tried to use it. I can't believe he came in here and tried to use the it's zoomed in thing. Unbelievable.
The video that I looked at, it did look like they were zooming in.
Yeah,
Well, I zoomed in. I zoomed in this. If you see the zoom in my video,
No,
look,
the
this
one
right
that I
here.
looked at.
See? Do you see the ejector on the right side?
No. Hold on.
Yeah, you should. If you see my screen. Do you see it now?
And how many square miles should we be seeing in this? If this is pointed straight down at Earth, we don't have any there's no space in the picture. There's no space in the picture. Whatever it is, we should be seeing a lot of square miles here, totally cloud covered. This is higher than the ISS. Hello.
It tells you it's narrow field of view.
This is supposed to be 100 miles higher than the ISS.
We don't know the field of view, Jeremy. We don't know the field of view. I took a picture.
Like rocks?
I took a picture with my iPhone, by the way, and I'm in a parking lot, and there's a very far building from me. I zoomed in, and I have the building and this truck right next to me completely in focus, both of them. So I don't think that at the baseline that it's impossible to zoom and keep two things in focus at different distances. Don't think that's impossible. You could do it yourself.
Shut up, donkey.
You guys are really reaching here. This is not zoomed in. Look at this thing.
No. I would. That's where I would say.
This is not the one that I saw.
With all the information that we both can agree that are unknown, I think that it's reasonable to state that it is probably zoomed in, but it's equally as likely, just on probability, that it's something else. But we both are lacking a lot of information.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think it's a nice obfuscation, but no, I disagree with you.
So what is the distance to the satellite?
Hold on, Mikey, you weren't here the other night. Did you see Brandon side by side of
Maybe
Mr.
not.
Sensible's
Maybe not.
footage and Professor
I was
Phil's
Brian.
footage?
I was
Okay,
Brian.
sorry.
Remember when I gave you my honest take and I said if you remove what was it 38 kilometers and then the 300 whatever kilometers off the top to take away the titles, and I said one looks closer than the other and it was opposite from what the values were. Remember when I gave you my honest take of what it looks like? It's fine. When you zoom in on something, it looks a lot closer. That happens too.
If these things are supposed to be, if these are supposed to be satellite deployment and they're supposed to be falling around the Earth, why are they falling directly towards the Earth in this?
Hey, Brandon, I got a question. Do you think if this was a
It's a
higher
great question,
quality,
Gio.
you would see
You won't get an answer,
brought up that point.
unfortunately.
I brought up that point
But
before.
shouldn't they be?
Eventually
Yeah, they
they're
should
gonna
be.
have to. Yeah, eventually they're going to have to get into orbit and not be falling down. What's going to stop them from going down at that rate? They're going down pretty fast.
They'd have to take They'd have to take a quick right angle to start orbiting around the globe.
So all they'd have to do is slow their velocity down, because if you see, at least with compared to the clouds, you can see that they are traveling at a particular velocity. They're maintaining the velocity that the deployment vehicle has. So all they would have to worry about is slowing down its slow down its downward velocity, and then it could reach an orbit. But as far as how it's going to do that or the mechanism behind it, I'd have to actually look up what those satellites are made of, what's inside of them internally, and that's a separate question.
Falling pretty fast.
Well, clouds don't go much higher than around 18,000 feet. So, I mean, how high could they be up? That's why when Brandon was saying 30 to 40, that's not.
Yeah, that's a good question.
I mean, they're chucking them right out of there. I mean,
They're not cirrus clouds. They're not high altitude clouds. Even if clouds do get higher, them are cumulus clouds for sure.
right, because the 18 is the highest clouds go. Most clouds are. I mean, it's from 2 to 18. So, I mean, really, it could be 10. Anywhere.
They would have to fall pretty fast to get into the clouds, though, right?
Yeah, thunderheads go to like 25,000.
Yeah, it looks like they're firing some metal little thing out of an airplane, and it's just falling at the direct rate that we always see things fall towards the Earth, and then goes behind a cloud layer.
Right. Exactly.
Okay,
Yeah.
if it was a higher quality video, do you think we'd see the same thing?
Oh God, you guys are so
If it
pathetic.
was like
You know that?
1080p or 4K?
You guys are so
I mean,
pathetic.
that's
I
kind of
swear
a
to
good
God.
question, though.
Is this the
I
best
think
you
if
guys
it was a
came
higher
up with?
quality-
Is this the best you came up with?
I mean,
Show it,
this is the-
people.
this
Show
is-
it
this
if you've
is the
got it. Have
best
you got it?
video that
Have you
you're
got it?
trying to debunk. There's many other videos out there of satellites being deployed, but you want to jump on this one, this low quality video.
Well, if
as
one's
this proves
fake,
something.
If one's fake, that kind of
no,
tells you
that's
something,
not
doesn't
true.
it? Oh, the
Not
one
true.
could
But
be
you
fake
haven't
and the rest
determined
could
it.
be true.
You're just watching it and saying, "Well, it looks fake to me."
If one flat earther fakes a video, then they're all faking, right?
Well, I think
don't
one of
think
the
that's
things,
right.
people.
Well, hold on a
One
minute.
of the
Why the
things-
fuck would the Indian Space Research Agency be faking a satellite video?
Yeah, you're right.
They're
Why
not
would they?
faking. That's your
They're
opinion.
launching something up
That's
there,
your
man. It looks
opinion.
like they're deploying parachutes or balloons or something. They're launching something the fuck up there. I mean, to me, it's feasible. I mean, they admit to putting
Your
balloons on
only
the fucking
defense
heads of
is
rockets and shit. I mean, like I said, why
your
would it
only
be
defense
balloons?
is to say it's fake. That's it.
Hey,
What are the
B-Ball,
white things?
Only
which
defense.
one's closer to the camera? Which cloud cover is closer to the camera? The one on the right or the one on the left?
I'm sorry. I'm looking at YouTube and now it's buffering. Let me see. Which one looks closer?
Yeah.
You've cut out, Brendan. Oh no, you're there.
Mage
The
2
litmus
or the one on the right?
It'd be cool to ask this without the
500,
numbers on it.
Well, it
You know,
depends.
without,
I guess it depends on which cloud you're looking at. Which one?
These white
be a
things
dog,
are
can you really
clouds
tell
here,
it?
and these white
How
things
can you
here
really
are
tell it?
clouds. See? So which
Well, how
one's
can you really
closer?
You
tell?
have troubles with clouds, though, don't you, Beeble? You have trouble with
You
clouds.
never looked
How
at
can you-
clouds
how can you-
before,
how
B-Ball?
can
You don't
you
have
really
any
tell that?
experience looking at clouds or what?
No, they don't have clouds in Hawaii.
Yeah, I look at
Yeah,
clouds.
they do, and they mistake them for Earth curve, don't they, Beeble?
No.
B-Ball, have you ever done the observation where you can see Kauai from Oahu? Have you done that one yet? It's like 110 miles. You can see.
Kango 24, $10 New Zealand. Thank you, Kango. What's the point, you guys, asking questions? If I told you I spent the last 25 years doing computer graphics and this stuff is not CGI, you would not believe me. It's just one big echo chamber in here. Is it? Because it's an open panel, and Kango, you're more than welcome to join anytime. And you can tell us why this random picture from NASA in your 25 years expertise of CGI couldn't be faked. You should come in and tell us sometime, Kango. Because that seems like a ridiculous claim that you're making. But thank you very much. I appreciate the super chat.
From Oahu, you can see it from several parts on Oahu.
No, you can't.
But
No, you can't. You can only see it from the top of Cocoa Head.
Well, it doesn't
So,
work on a globe at any altitude of Oahu that you can get to. However, this observation can be done from ground level as well. But even if you go up at the highest altitude of
Are you sure
Oahu,
about that? Have you done it?
110 miles, it's still impossible.
You're making a claim, Gio, as if you've done it.
I have an issue, Brandon. Can you bring up the side by side again? I have another issue with those, and I don't think it's unreasonable. I think
in the Indian Space Agency that you could see cottony detail.
All right, perfect. So, the issue that I have is with the Mage 2. If from my perspective, we're on a globe and those things are in the air at a particular altitude, Mage 2 is looking out, essentially horizontally. They're going to look across more surface area. When the Indians project right here, I guess you could call it, it's essentially looking straight down. So you're going to get different qualities because yes, the Mage 2's altitude may be 30K from zenith, and then the Indian rocket is 500 some odd kilometers from zenith, but they're not looking in the same direction. So that 38K one is probably looking out 1,000 kilometers. That 576K altitude is looking straight zenith. That's looking 500 some odd kilometers. That's gonna play a huge part in the quality of what you're seeing.
Well, let's take a look. And 1,000 miles, by the way, at that height would falsify the globe, just so you know. But let me.
Yeah, I'm throwing numbers out, but you understand what I'm saying, right? When you're looking out at a distance rather than straight down zenith.
No, this
I've
is
just put
a clever new excuse. So let me just see if I can get a better.
Is it clever or
picture
reasonable?
downwards.
Does it make sense? Out
Well, Badu, I hear what you're saying in terms of the Mage 2 one was looking at an angle. Certainly, when you look at an angle, you're going to see a lot more of the Earth. Like even in that Brandon's right now, where at the beginning when he played that, it was pointed down the Earth and then it looked up. So there is some difference, but the cloud characteristics on both of those photos, I would say, are dramatically different, because the one that's 38,000 up, you can tell that the Earth, like the actual concentration of the land and the clouds, is completely different than the Indian one.
Yeah, if you look in the chat, Brandon, I've put one in there looking to the horizon from ISRO deploying their 104 star chain.
Do you remember the old skyscraper photos for the steel workers? On like the tallest buildings, they'd take those photos. Can you feel? And you get the city and everything in the background. You remember those old ones? 40s and all that. The steel workers, they all take pictures of each other up in the air on the steel beams. If you look in the background of those photos, they don't look like they're curving anywhere either. I mean, what happened to those cameras that don't just like have to put a curve and stuff? You know, where are those at?
One thing I was going to say before, I wanted to say this. B-Ball was saying about how, like, why are we finding these certain things, like anomalous things, like satellite, like that one satellite photo and pictures and others, is because if they're faking this, that would mean that some percentage of their stuff is going to look decent. You know, it's going to look, maybe passable. And then another percentage is going to be sketchy. And then there's going to be another percentage that's just the dead giveaway stuff. Unless they, were to do a perfect job, but they're clearly not. I think ultimately they don't have the best of the best. Like, that's why they had to get Stanley Kubrick to do the moon landing, because they don't have, like, in their networks, they don't have the best of the best, especially when it comes to like editing and a lot of this stuff. They have, pretty good quality people, but it's like level C, level B Hollywood type stuff. It's not the level A. So they do miss a lot. And when they're pumping out this much content, they have to be pumping out a lot of stuff every day in all these countries, trying to make it seem new and exciting and some new thing so that people keep buying into the space story.
Yeah, Brandon, go to that video that I just tagged you in general and go to 4 minutes and 25 and just play about 10 seconds and just concentrate on the bottom right hand batch of sets.
All right, one second. I got this up. So here is at 38,000 meters, looking straight down, bio. Okay. Not much of a difference, really. You see that?
Yeah, that's a lot. You would agree that would be a lot crisper than your example of the side by side, the left side. Like we can compare it to the right. Fine, I understand, but the left side from the same video, you can see the differences with the cloud quality between those, right?
No, I wouldn't.
I
wouldn't
agree.
agree
That's
with that
better
at all.
for your case, but still it's supposed to be 15 to 20 times further.
So I guess my suggestion would be screenshot this and grab the left side of your side by side, put them together. I would make the argument that those clouds in this picture that you have up now is of higher quality than those other ones.
Well,
they're
then you need to get some new glasses. But okay,
maybe I would suggest doing the side by side.
Definitely.
Well, bio, like, looking at this compared to the other one, what do you think that one looks higher up or the same or closer?
No. I said it yesterday or before the weekend, whenever it was. I was honest about it. Which one looked closer? Yeah.
And how much do you think that would be? Like, if you had to estimate, like, in how many times further up is the one that's higher?
I have no idea. It would be pure speculation based on nothing. That's what it would be. But my personal opinion is, yes, the one that is said to be farther away, that particular image looks closer than the one said to be closer. Yes, that's what it looks like with no other information. Yeah.
Well, I thought since you said you've worked on military airplane and stuff, so I thought perhaps you would be able to at least ballpark it if you have some familiarity in that field.
Right. Aircraft are going to be different than satellite images and estimating distances based off of that. It'll be different.
Because going off what they claim, it's about 65 times further up, the 38,000.
Biodual installed the shit bags in the military plane. That's the name Biodual.
What's 65 times 38, Gio? Is it 500 something? I think it's about 13 or 14 times.
2,470.
And that's not the claimed.
That's like 65 times more. Well, the one is 576 kilometers, and the other one's 38,000.
No, that would be 38,000 meters or 38
No, it's
kilometers.
38 kilometers. It's 38 kilometers. It's about.
It said K. 576
21 miles, right?
kilometers.
Yes, there you go, Gio. They're both in the same units, 38 and 576. They're in the same units of kilometers, so you could just go from 38 to 576.
But it said 38,000.
38,000 meters, 576,000 meters. 38 kilometers, 570.
It's a little over. It's a little over 15 times higher. It's supposed to be a little over 15 times higher. It's like 15.1 something.
You're right. You're right. The altimeter shows 38,000, but that is in meters.
I guess I'd have
You
to.
can say whatever you want. It's 15 times. Supposed to be, according to the information we got, it's 15 times higher. The one launching the satellites in the clouds.
The altitudes are claimed to be 15 times higher with the 576. Correct. We just don't know the particular camera. We don't know if it was zoomed or if it was not zoomed. All we have is incomplete information and what it looks like. And I agree with you. It looks like it's closer, but we don't have the information necessary to make an accurate assessment. We can only speculate.
Even if I gave you zoom, which I can't, and I could say that would make up for about 4 or 5 times difference. Not no 15, bro. It's, I mean,
Where are you guys getting 15? Where are you guys getting 15? Where are you getting 15? Because it's 576 into 38,000.
No,
Oh, that's 65.
No, 30,
into 38.
It is 38 kilometers, bro.
Oh,
1,000 meters is a kilometer, bro.
Please don't. This is another math magnitude issue. Yes, the altimeter says 38,000. You're right. That's 38,000 meters. You convert that to kilometers, it's 38. The other one's 576. So it's 576 divided by 38. That'll give you the relationship.
Oh, okay, my bad. I thought it was 38,000 kilometers. All right, my bad.
Hey, Bio, you're really struggling to hang on to the ledge on this one. I mean, we don't know if it's zoomed. It doesn't look that much higher. The clouds. Come on, man. You gotta admit. I mean, this is some thin shit you're hanging on to.
I was honest. I know that that's a satellite program, and they're supposed to be really high up. And I know that Mage 2 is not as high up. Despite those things, I'm honestly saying, yes, the one that is farther looks closer. I can be that honest. Can you be that honest and say, we are missing a lot of information that would be helpful for this conversation?
We're not missing a lot of information. No.
Necessary. Okay,
but I will.
That wouldn't be that wouldn't be honest if I said that. By the way, that'd be like maximizing the information that we're missing.
So we
that'd be exaggerating it, the importance of it.
So Brian, when you talk about honesty, remember this moment.
Oh, now he's going to cast me as dishonest. This is sophistry. Remember, guys, what we were talking about earlier? Sophistry. This is it right here. He's going to cast me as dishonest because I disagree with him.
It's not that you disagree with me. It's that you know that we're missing information that would be important to this conversation.
No, I disagree that it's important.
And despite
I disagree that it's important. It's that simple, Bio. It's not important.
We both have opinions, but we both should acknowledge that we are missing information that would be important for this.
No, I don't agree that it's important.
Okay,
that's your opinion.
So your position is we have all the information that we need for this, right?
We have enough information, yes. And the information that you say that we're missing that's important is not that important.
All right, so the zoom level, the particular type of camera, the focal length, all of these things not important for what you're saying?
Correct.
All right, there you go. Again, Brian, there you go.
Well, Bio, let me ask you this. Like, I know that in your worldview, like it all has to kind of be real, I suppose. Although I guess you could think that they're maybe faking some of it. I suppose that claim could be made. But let me just ask you this, Bio, of everything you've looked at, are you saying that like nothing from all the space footage stands out to you as potentially not being real? Is that what you're saying?
No. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. When it comes to space footage, specifically for the lunar landings, I'm down with all of that being fake. The footage, the photographs, I'm down for that. Hold on. I'm down for that being fake. What can't be faked is a man-made array panel on the moon that we could bounce shit off of. That cannot be faked, meaning man has been there. The footage could be faked, but that cannot be faked. So that's the hill that I die on.
But what about
bouncing
if those
off the moon.
lasers would bounce off the moon anyways? What if they would get that anyways, and you don't need any reflectors there at all? The thing is that, like, you're just, I mean, in terms of that, you're just blindly believing that equipment and those people who claim it, right?
No, so the quality. It would be the quality in the particular things that you're bouncing it off of. You can use radio waves. Before that array, that panel was on there, you could bounce radio waves and radar, blah, blah, blah. But what you can't bounce off and get reliable returns would be light, a form of light.
They were bouncing lasers off the moon before that.
They were bouncing radio waves.
Oh, dude,
I
we're
believe
bouncing
lasers
shit off
as
the
well.
moon in 1960. You don't think we'd be better at it now?
1964 and 65, yeah, there was a lot of claims of that. I mean, whether it's even bouncing off the moon or something else between us and the moon, but either way, those claims have been made, you know, far before they claim to go on the moon. So, Bao, you're saying that they probably that they may have faked the moon landing footage, but they somehow put a retroreflector up there. Is that what you're saying?
No. What I'm specifically saying, and to be as clarifying as I possibly can, is I don't sit on the footage. So if someone said, "Oh, the moon landing was fake," prove me otherwise, I would never provide footage. I would never provide photographs. I don't care about those things. I don't need those things. All I need is the recto reflector panel, whatever. That's all I need, because that can't be faked. That has to be has to be manipulated by man, has to be put there by man, and it has to be adjusted by man. Meaning man has to have gone there physically to set this thing up.
No, it don't.
So all the
They
footage
could be
I
up
don't
there
give a shit
sending
about.
shit back, dude. They could be up there in balloons catching the shit off the ionosphere and sending shit back where it came from.
Oh, that's a good point, Brian. That's a good point that could be possible. You're right. That's another possibility of how they could fake that. Yep. Yeah, there's a bunch of ways, especially when it's equipment that, I mean, BioDual. So you would quote unquote trust that it's not faked, even though you haven't seen the equipment. It's literally just people claiming this, like even just on that level.
No. I've been to an observatory when they've done it when I was a kid. I wasn't in a right state of mind as far as knowledge to understand every piece of equipment and exactly what they were doing. But I did go to an observatory field trip wise here in Texas when they were doing it, and I could see them manipulating things. I can remember a delay between when they, quote unquote, fired it and then when they got a return, showed us, particular things, what it looked like. But again, I had no knowledge of interpreting it at the time.
So they claim to shoot something into the sky, a signal, and then receive that signal. That's what they're claiming. I mean, the thing is, we could actually break some of this down, like in terms of, I mean, the distance of the moon, 236,000 miles. That's a whole another question of how something, I mean, due to the inverse square law and the way that, everything travels, like that's a whole nother topic. It wouldn't even be possible to shoot at a quarter of a million miles, have it bounce off, come back a quarter of a million miles, and hit the same part on Earth. That's a whole other part of this discussion. However, what I was just saying originally, though, is that they shoot something up and claim to get something back, and that in and of itself is enough for you to think that men put retroreflectors up there and that they've gone to the moon.
Yeah. Yes. Due to my understanding of radar, and how radar works, I have no problem with that demonstration and the values that are given for it. Given the 2.5, give or take 2.5 second bounce and return, and just the general process of shooting something, getting a return. No problem with any of that due to other knowledge now.
Why couldn't they do that, Gio? Why couldn't they shoot?
All right. Well, I'm going to close it out. It's 8:30. Everybody have a good night. Hope you enjoyed the show, and we will see you tomorrow. Yeah. We'll talk to you then. Bye.